The Sterling Cup is indeed on the line as we welcome you here to Elliott Field in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. I'm John Gugerty here on FATV. Dan Bolak will be joining me shortly, but right now let's send it down to Amanda Agassi, who is standing by with Fitchburg State alumnus Talib Barksdale.
What's up, everybody? I'm live here on the sideline for another Falcon football Saturday, and the Falcons were blessed with yet another beautiful day. High of 78, some clouds, but you know the sun is shining. And speaking of shining, I am joined by Fitchburg State's former shining star, Talib Barksdale.
How are you? Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Thank you for joining us on the sideline.
That's right.
So, I want to know, is this your first game of the season that you're attending?
First game of the season. Haven't been back in about 3 years since I graduated.
Wow.
Excited to see this.
Yes, welcome back. It must feel a little weird to be out here on the turf, huh?
It is. It is. Definitely have shoes on. I've never had that. I usually wear cleats. And I just got a jacket on, no pads, so it's definitely different for sure.
There you go. So that must mean you definitely miss football. Just tell me, how much do you miss it?
Oh, a lot. I mean, I'd rather go in the locker room right now, put my pads on, but I can't do that. No more eligibility.
Yeah, I know. Well, we do miss you, but I do want to know, you played as a linebacker when you were here for the Falcons. What piece of advice would you give to the Falcon defense?
Oh, always got to stay hungry. Everyone's got to pursue to the ball and just come ready to play. 60 minutes, that's all you have.
And now, what would you say to a newcomer to the Falcon football program, especially having a lot of young faces on the team right now?
Oh, always got to stay hungry, man. I mean, I came into college right out of high school a star and then didn't play my whole first year. Really didn't know the situation, but I stayed hungry, grinding the off season, and it worked out for the best.
Exactly. You're a Shining Star alumni, you know, and I have to ask, I ask all my guests, take it back in the day. If you had a celebratory dance, what would it be?
Well, back in the day when I was playing, the whip was out, so
okay.
It would kind of be like.
Oh, okay.
But now it's kind of out of style.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hey. Oh, yeah. I like it. I like it. Thank you so much for joining us, Talib. Back up to you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we have watched Talib Barksdale whip. Later on, we might just get to watch him nay-nay. I don't want to make any promises, but Dan, do you want to see Talib Barksdale do the nay-nay?
It would be entertaining, wouldn't it?
Obviously, we thank Talib so much for his time. Talib Barksdale, one of the standout defensive players for the Fitchburg State Falcons when he was on the team. But we also want to talk briefly about the team that Fitchburg State is taking on today. You see there on your screen the Lancers of Worcester State University. And as we bring in Dan Bolak, Dan, this is a very different offense from the one Fitchburg State has faced to the first 2 games of the season.
Yes, for Worcester State, they are a team that likes to air it out, and they are led by their senior quarterback, Noah Brum, from Honolulu, Hawaii. Comes all the way across the country and then some.
It's a bit of a trek. He might have family here. You don't know.
But regardless, Brum, the 5th-year senior from Honolulu, will be under center for the Lancers of Worcester State today. He's thrown for over 500 yards in his first 2 games. He loves to air it out. But the one thing to watch out for, he's been picked off 6 times in 2 games. That's not a very good stat there.
No, it's not. 3 picks in each of the first 3 games for Noah Brum. Last week against Becker, 20 of 33 for 240 yards. He did throw for 3 touchdowns, but also those 3 interceptions. And on the other side of the ball for the Falcons, turnovers have been a problem as well. Brandon Brown threw an interception last week that was returned for a touchdown in the 34-13 defeat for the Falcons against Castleton. And Fitchburg State comes into this one with a record of 0-2, losers of their last 7 games in a row dating back to last season. What do you think the Falcons need to do to get back to their winning ways today, Dan?
Well, for one thing, they have to do a lot better at holding on to the football. They turned it over 4 times last week. They turned it over 3 times against Cortland. I don't think turnovers necessarily did them in against the Red Dragons, but they definitely did them in last week against the Castleton Spartans. So they have to be a little better at holding on to the ball. I liked what I saw out of the running game. 174 yards on the ground for Jaquay Solomon. 99 yards on the ground for Brandon Brown. The running game, they seem to have that down for the most part. And it's another week that Brandon Brown's had to get more comfortable with his receiving core. And we'll see if the Falcons will be able to mix in some of the pass game. But for the time being, the run game has not looked too bad.
No, it has not. And you did mention Jaquay Solomon, again, 21 carries, 174 yards, and a touchdown last week for the Falcons. Solomon will be a big part of the offense today as Sterling Garvin, the nominal starting running back for the Falcons, he is not dressed to play. He suffered a left leg injury in the first quarter of last week's game, and he is out for this contest. It's going to be Jaquay Solomon and also Chris Tamaki doing the ball carrying for Fitchburg State.
And yes, for Sterling Garvin, a bit of a loss there. He was averaging about 5 yards a carry coming into, through the first 2 games. But Jaquay Solomon, who over his career had averaged about 3 yards a carry, definitely had a heck of a game last week against Castleton. Found some holes, got himself a touchdown. He ran the ball quite well last week, and hopefully he'll be able to bring a similar performance against this Worcester State defense.
Now, if you were with us from the very beginning of the broadcast, obviously, thank you for that. You heard Matt Carroll, who does the narration for the excellent video packages that we've had at the beginning of the games this season. He mentioned that this is the 34th meeting between these two teams. Worcester State holds an overall record of 25-8, including winning the last 2 contests. But it's interesting, Dan, both of those games were away. They were both at Worcester State just because of vagaries in the scheduling, back-to-back home games for the Lancers. The last time Fitchburg State played Worcester State here at Elliott Field was back in 2015, and Worcester State got shut out.
23-0 was the final in that one, and that was a year where Fitchburg State went 8-3. So they definitely had things going for them that year. And of course, the last 2 years, Worcester has gotten to host the Sterling Cup matchup between the Falcons and Lancers just because it was the year that it was time to redraw the schedules for conference play. And so they ended up getting the 2 consecutive home games. It is what it is. Things like that happen, but nonetheless, the Falcons get to host the Lancers for the first time in 3 years in the sport of football, and it should be a very exciting game.
It definitely should be, and also one thing that we have yet to mention, this is the first conference game of the season. Obviously, Fitchburg opened their season with a couple of non-conference games, losing to SUNY Cortland and to Castleton, but now they are into MASCAC play, and for the rest of the season, these conference games mean that much more.
Absolutely. I mean, the first 2 games, it's not the worst thing in the world if you lose them because at the end of the day, they are non-conference. I mean, it's helpful for at-large bids if you win them, but you don't really expect a team out of the MASCAC to get an at-large bid, whereas the surefire way to get into the NCAA tournament, you got to win your conference. Just win, baby. And this is the first of 8 games in conference play, so it all comes down, and it's winner take all. Whoever's got the best record at the end, who stands alone at the top of the conference, gets to go to the NCAA tournament, and that is a fact. And so for the Falcons and the Lancers, one misstep can be very costly, and this is where the games really start to count. We're now into MASCAC play.
And they are not taking on one of the easier teams in the MASCAC either. Obviously, we've talked a couple of times this season, Fitchburg State projected to be the winners of the Wooden Spoon, to have the worst record in conference. Worcester State is actually projected to be one of the better teams in the MASCAC.
They were chosen to finish 4th in the coaches poll, and they picked up one of the 9 first-place votes that were on the table. And Worcester definitely looked strong going down the stretch.
Now, that's not just a case of, Worcester's coach said, my team's going to come in first.
You can't vote for yourself in these polls.
Okay.
So they were doing pretty well down the stretch. They won 3 of their last 4 games in the 2017 campaign. 5-point win over UMass Dartmouth, a 48-0 whitewashing of Mass Maritime, who we'll be seeing on FATV in 2 weeks' time, and a 35-21 win against Bridgewater, who the Falcons will be seeing in Bridgewater next week, before losing to a team that ultimately won 10 games in Framingham State, 48-20. But nonetheless, Worcester definitely looked strong in their victories last year. The first game, as we mentioned, they lost 27-21 to Salve Regina. That was a game where Worcester was ahead for a lot of the contest, but lost it near the end. The Seahawks were able to battle back and take the W in that one, and then the 23-19 win over Becker. And that was a game where Worcester was definitely treading on thin ice in that contest. They turned the ball over 5 times in that game, but were still able to come away with the victory. As we mentioned, Noah Brum, 20 for 33, 241 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he got picked 3 times. Dex Andrews had 16 carries for 94 yards on the ground. Cam Charette, 8 catches for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ultimately, and the Lancers, they did outgain Becker 350 to 211. They held the Hawks to 211 yards of offense overall, but only 2 for 11 on third down. In fact, the Lancers have struggled on third down this year. And that might be something to watch for.
You mentioned the third downs. You also mentioned turnovers, and that's something that has plagued Worcester State in the early going of this season. It'll be interesting to see if the Falcon defense can capitalize on not necessarily lackadaisical, but maybe just inattentiveness or sloppiness with the football on the part of the Lancers. The Fitchburg State defense has not forced a single turnover in their first 2 games, and that's part of the reason, that turnover differential. We especially saw it last week against Castleton. That's part of the reason Fitchburg State is coming into this game with an 0-2 record.
Absolutely. I mean, when you turn the ball over, especially where the Falcons have turned it over, I mean, out of those three of those turnovers were in the red zone. They were definitely getting close to the end zone, close to scoring, could have changed the momentum of the contest, and then it's a huge swing of momentum back the other way when those turnovers are forced either by interception or fumble. And for Worcester State, they've already turned it over 8 times in 2 games. The Falcons can definitely take advantage of a weakness there from the Lancers. As we mentioned, Noah Brum, he loves to throw the football, but he has a penchant for getting picked off. Sometimes he's a little too happy to throw the football, and sometimes you get those ill-advised throws. And that's something that the Falcons are going to want to watch out for, especially the secondary. They've got to also try to limit those home run plays, because so many times we saw the quarterbacks for Cortland and for Castleton get those long balls downfield, get those long drive, and getting the bulk of their drives in just one play. And the Falcons have to do a better job at limiting the Lancers this week in that department.
Absolutely. It's been, on a play-to-play basis for the Falcons, the defense has been pretty stout. Obviously not spectacular. It's difficult to give up 85 points in 2 games and say your defense has been spectacular. But on a play-to-play basis, they have been able to force stops and grind drives out, but there's always the lurking threat of the deep ball, the big run, the massive swing in momentum, and that's somewhere the Falcons have been vulnerable on defense.
Absolutely. It's just going to be a matter of watching out for that and trying to adjust accordingly. Look at the Falcons' leading receivers. Jesse Brown, 6 catches for the Falcons. Herbert Costa's got 4. Drew Ridnour, 3. Kevin Quinn, 1. Gabriel Mangrum had 2 last week, but he's not going to be taking any further part in this season for the Falcons.
And it wasn't very long, Dan, before you were getting into team leaders in receptions having 1 reception, 2 receptions. The Falcons' offense ranks 8th in passing offense, averaging just 112 yards per game. That's not what you want to see, especially from a team that has been playing from behind so often. You would think a team in that situation would be racking up passing yardage, and Fitchburg State just has not been doing that.
It has been a bit of a challenge for Brandon Brown to get on the same page with his receivers. We've seen some overthrows, some rush throws. Of course, that also comes down to the offensive line. You want to see the team play a little better in that regard. I can also see that of the Falcon captains ready to take the coin toss, that Herbert Acosta is wearing not football shorts. So we might not be seeing him today.
Yeah, I don't think the black athletic shorts are regulation. They certainly clash with the white pants that everybody else is wearing. So either, and this is possible, Herbert Acosta has been granted a special exemption to play football without a uniform or pads or a helmet or anything, or he's not playing. I think perhaps he's just not playing.
Occam's Razor says he's not playing. And
I'm sorry, hold on. I need to stop the broadcast right now.
Did I mispronounce that word?
You're the only person I've ever heard in the history of the universe who pronounces it Occam's Razor.
And what is the correct pronunciation for?
I'm not saying it's correct. It's possible that literally every human I've ever interacted with in my life is wrong, but I've always heard it as Occam's Razor.
And that could be just as correct. I never saw a pronunciation guide for that.
That's true. Occam did not send us a pronunciation guide today, so we really just have to wing it. Worcester State did. That was nice of them. We appreciate that.
So we have wonderful pronunciations, and we'll get to show those off later in the telecast.
Well, don't call it wonderful. We still have to get it right.
Exactly. Not as easy under pressure as the Falcons take the field.
Falcons taking the field. The captains meeting at midfield for the coin toss. Fitchburg State's captains, Kyrie Watford, Jenry Rosario. Looks like Javon White, one of the captains today. Herbert Acosta, previously mentioned. And also Jason Urado at midfield taking the coin toss for the Falcons.
Let's go! Go, baby! Turn it up on everyone!
Worcester State running with just 3 captains, it looks like. Lancers come into this game led by their head coach, Brian Cullen. He is in his 34th season as the head coach of Worcester State. Do you think he's tired of playing Fitchburg State for 34 years now?
So he's been involved with essentially every matchup.
So Worcester State will defer, as you heard.
Fitchburg State will receive. Okay, gentlemen, have a good game.
And the Falcons will receive the opening kickoff. So Dan, Fitchburg State's offense will get the first crack at it today. What do you need to see from Fitchburg State on this opening drive?
Well, I'm hoping that the offensive line, I'm going to be looking at the offensive line to try to play well today, to try to give Brendan Brown some time in the pocket to get some passes downfield, to try to make some holes for Jaquay Solomon and Chris Tamaketti to run through. It's going to be up to them to try to dictate the pace of this game for the Falcons offensively.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. And for right now, we'll step aside for the national anthem. Be back to you with football coverage. It's College Football Saturday right here on FATV.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please rise as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Please welcome first-year Fitchburg State University student, Kaylin Petray.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Fitchburg State University football live here on FATV. I'm John Gugerty, joined as always by Dan Bolak. Our thanks to Kaylin Petray for that excellent rendition of our national anthem. And Dan, Fitchburg State will receive the opening kickoff of this one.
So we'll have the first chance, first crack at the ball, and we'll see how they can handle that one, try to set the pace of this game.
And again, if you're just joining us, Fitchburg State comes into this game with a record of, easy for me to say, they come in with a record of 0-2. This is their first MASCAC game. Worcester State comes in carrying a 1-1 record. They are also yet to play a MASCAC contest, but that will change in just moments as we're ready for the opening kickoff.
Officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and their grounds for removal from the
Looks like that's Noah Wong set up to kick off for Worcester State, senior kicker out of Brooklyn, New York.
Wong has been averaging about 47 yards on his kickoff. That's from when the ball leaves his foot to when the ball is caught by a defender. So John Gugerty, you've got the first and fourth.
Thank you very much, Dan. Worcester State going right to left. They are in the all-white with blue. It's a low bouncing kickoff and just fallen on at the 33-yard line. I think that's Jared Citizen who picked it up for the Falcons. Actually, excuse me, it's 36, Keambu Jones, the freshman linebacker. Good job there just showing decent hands by Keambu Jones.
Interesting that 2 weeks ago we saw Cortland going with those short pooch kick kickoffs, and Noah Wong apparently goes with line drive kicks. But in either case, though, the Falcons get good field position out of it to start.
So the Falcon offense comes out, and again, it is Sterling Garvin not playing today. Jaquay Solomon is the main running back. You see him there to the left of Brandon Brown. And Solomon will get the carry on first down. Jaquay Solomon breaks tackles, goes head over heels, but he's got himself a first down. 1 carry, 13 yards for Jaquay Solomon. There is, however, an injury on the Falcon offensive line. Looks like Darius Morkeski, the senior from Methuen, slow to get up and actually still has not yet gotten up.
It also looked like Gus Ramstrom was a bit slow to get up for Worcester State, and he's come off the field as well. I believe he was the one who made that low tackle on Solomon. So we hope, Mark, that Darius Morkeski is all right.
And the concession stand is open on the upper level concourse today. You'll support the Fitchburg State University softball team. They need to purchase. They have
So,
pizza.
bit of an encouraging sign there for Darius Morkeski, able to get off the field mostly under his own power. Looks like he's favoring his left leg. We'll keep an eye on him, try to get an update on his status, and hopefully see him return to action. 1st and 10, Falcons now at their own 45-yard line after the good run by Jaquay Solomon. And he'll get it again. This time cuts to the right, ducks out of a tackle. He's across midfield. Mark him down at the 49-yard line. It's another good gain for Jaquay Solomon.
Already Solomon, starting out of the shotgun formation, he gets a moment to see how the line is developing and what's his best path to success. And he's found the holes to success in the first 2 carries already. 19 yards in the first 2.
So 2nd down and 4 now at midfield. I mean, for most coaches, this is a time to reach deep into your playbook and try to go for the home run, isn't it?
Not a bad time to try it.
Falcons 3 receivers. Pitch left to Solomon, looking for a hole. Doesn't really find much. He's able to gain a yard. And it'll be 3rd down and 3 now after the short gain.
As sort of the pile of players started moving to the left, Solomon was just trying to get around the line to the left side, but the pile just kept moving to the left and to the left, and he got swallowed up for only 1 yard for as much running as he was doing on that play.
3rd and 3 now for Fitchburg State. Jaquay Solomon still in the backfield. And he gets the carry straight up the middle. Nothing fancy about that, but it is effective. Stop the clock, move the chains. Jaquay Solomon has another first down.
And so on 3rd down, the Falcons trusting Jaquay Solomon to get the yardage required, the 3 yards for the first down. So they go with the run on that one, and he is able to get exactly what they needed.
Fitchburg State has yet to call a pass, and they've yet to have the need. Just hand the ball to Jaquay Solomon and let him and the offensive line do their job. Now 1st and 10 at the Lancer 43. This time it's a pitch to the right to Solomon. He cuts it back up the middle, but is brought down immediately. It was Kyle Driscoll, the sophomore linebacker out of Spencer, making the hit for Worcester State, limiting Solomon to a gain of about a yard.
And Bruce Johnson, the former Red Raider, the junior from Fitchburg, also in on that tackle. As Solomon thought he had that hole there, tried to take advantage of it, but the gap closed right as he got there.
2nd down and a long 9 after the gain of about half a yard. Fitchburg State in their usual formation, 3 receivers and a tight end. Brown takes the snap, looking to his left, looking left, still looking left. Now rolls, throws high and incomplete. Looks like that one was more of a throwaway than anything. Mike August was in the area, but I don't think he was trying to get it to him, to be honest with you.
I believe that was a design throw out of bounds. Brown tried to take it himself at first. He was looking for somewhere to go. Couldn't find an opening. Tries to cut to the left as best he could. Didn't like his odds of trying to run down the near sideline. Didn't like his odds with any of the 3 receivers downfield. He just decided to chuck it out.
Now 3rd down and 10 for the Falcons. They go 4 wide receivers. Drew Riddenauer, the tight end, heads to the sideline. Brown back to pass, looking to his right. Now scrambling, rolls left. He throws left, and again, that pass is high and incomplete. Intended for somebody on the sideline wearing white, I think. There weren't really any Falcon receivers in the area.
From what I could see, it looked like Brown was thinking for a moment. He saw Bruce Johnson for Worcester sort of in a matchup with one of the other Falcon O-linemen, and he was thinking to himself, could he get around Johnson? But he ultimately chose not to take the risk. He tried to make a pass, but I think Johnson was able to get his fingertips on it and deflect it away from its intended receiver, but safely for the Falcons out of bounds.
So now Bryce Santos on to kick it away for Fitchburg State. Kick is away. It's high, end over end. Fair catch called for and made at about the 11-yard line. So Worcester State pinned back fairly deep in their own territory. They'll take over 1st and 10.
Of course, they had the ball at the opponent 43, but they chose to punt there. They want to take the field position, make Worcester really work from behind. And also good to see Bryce Santos is all right after he got run into at the end of last week's game against Castleton.
Another injury update real quick. Darius Morkeski is moving around here on the near sideline, but still favoring that left leg. Looks like it's going to be a while before he can return. Worcester State offense on the field now, first time today. Handoff goes to the right side, cutting the corner and turning upfield. That's Dax Andrews for Worcester State. He is shoved out of bounds and then delivers a shoulder block.
Dax Andrews, senior running back. He is from Dorchester. At 94 yards, here's the replay.
See there, he's run out of bounds and then runs over the Falcon defender. DeMonte Hart got introduced to the game in a big way. It'll be 2nd down and about 4 now for the Lancers. Handoff goes up the middle. Really nothing doing there. They push the pile, however, good 3-4 yards, and that's close to the line to gain.
Won't be a 1st down, but it'll be 3rd and less than a yard to go. I've also noticed on these first 2 plays, Andrews has gotten the ball on the carry, but Noah Brum has also been trying to sell the pass as well. Makes a pump fake, basically. Pretends that he's throwing the ball after he makes the handoff.
Officials having some discussion among themselves, and now they're going to move the chains. Call that a 1st down for Worcester State. Jim McGuire's not terribly happy about it.
Thought there probably should have been more of a measurement there. I went with what the original linesman had said.
Play action fake on 1st down. Throwing long over the middle. There is nobody there. Absolutely no one in the area. The closest man was Jared Citizen for the Falcons. But I think Brum was just not on the same page with his receiver there.
You can see, I believe that is Asante Easter, former Falcon standout who's been an assistant coach for the last couple of years, now co-defensive coordinator.
2nd down pass over the middle. This one is complete. Jacob Marr with the reception.
Marr, junior tight end from Marshfield, and a highly touted one as well. He's gotten a lot of preseason accolades.
Just a quick little play action fake and then the quick pass by Noah Brum. This time it was on target, brings up 3rd down and about 3 yards. Handoff goes to Andrews on the right side, cuts it back up the middle, breaks out of several tackles. Andrews is still on his feet. He's got a 1st down and more. Finally knocked down at the 46-yard line. It's a gain of about 16 yards and a 1st down Worcester State.
And that's something we've seen a couple of times too, is Falcons unable to fully wrap their arms around the ball carrier and able to bring down the carrier as they get continuous yards after the contact. Broke out of 3 players as tackles there and needed some help there. Cambu Jones did from another Falcon to make that tackle.
Now 1st and 10, Worcester State. Brum plenty of time to throw. Finally dumps it off to his safety valve option up along the near sideline. That's Hunter Pawpaw, senior running back out of Hudson, Massachusetts. It's a gain of about 3 yards.
Pawpaw going in as the running back after those good plays there by Dex Andrews. 3 yards ultimately is the result of that play.
2nd and 7 now, Worcester State. Pawpaw, the ball carrier, running along the left side, gets a block, cuts it upfield. He's across the 40, still on his feet. Finally dragged out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. Hunter Pawpaw has a first down.
There's a flag on the play.
Never mind, that didn't happen. Somebody was cheating. Can't do that.
First penalty of the game comes as Worcester would have gotten a big gain, but for naught it will be.
Instead, they'll bring it all the way back to the Lancer 40-yard line. They'll bring up about 2nd down and 17. Hunter Pawpaw remains the running back. He goes in motion, takes the quick swing pass, try to set up a screen to Pawpaw. He's back close to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe about a yard shy of that, so let's call it 3rd down and 11 coming up.
Richard Austin Jr. with the tackle there for the Falcons. As it was designed from the get-go, Noah Brum telling Pawpaw to go in motion, go to the right, makes that immediate dump-off pass there. And Pawpaw just trying to run around the flank, try to get as many yards as good. Got 6, but it'll bring up 3rd and 11.
Play action fake, Brum looking to pass, under pressure, ducks out to his right. He is going to be brought down. Not a sack, it'll go down as a run, but not the designed play by any means. Noah Brum gains just 2 yards. And with the help of a holding penalty, the Fitchburg State defense is able to eventually force Worcester to kick it away.
Noah Brum, not a particularly mobile quarterback. 9 carries for minus 10 yards in his first 2 games. That includes sacks, of course, at the college level. And now, here's an interesting curiosity. Cam Charette, who is a wide receiver by trade, is the punter.
Charette's kick is away. It's a pretty good one, high end over end. Takes a really good Worcester State bounce. It's inside the 5-yard line, and this ball is going to be downed inside the 1. That is a beautiful punt by Cam Charette. Takes an incredible bounce for the Lancers, and now Fitchburg State has to go about 99 yards and 2 feet if they want a touchdown.
I was sort of expecting, I was wondering if Cam Charette would go with sort of the rugby kick, sort of the run around to the right towards the line of scrimmage, then kick it away since he is a wide receiver by trade. But apparently he's a pretty solid punter, and he was able to get a pitch-perfect punt, placing it right inside the 1-yard line, and it will make things a bit challenging for the Falcons.
So now Fitchburg State's offense takes over, 1st and 10. They're going to mark it at the 1. And Fitchburg is running the shotgun here. They are not just going to snap this ball and try to run up the middle from the QB position. Maybe try to draw the Lancers off sides even. Handoff goes straight up the middle. Jaquay Solomon gets across the line of scrimmage, gains a little bit of breathing room for the offense. It's only a gain of about a yard, though. It'll be 2nd and 9 at the 2.
I recall a couple of years ago, the Falcons, they've been running basically out of the pistol, out of the shotgun for a long time. And I remember there was a time when they wanted to try to run it play with the quarterback under center, just to try to protect the football, and they fumbled it. Just do the shotgun because it's what you know.
2nd and 9, Falcons at their own 1. Another handoff up the middle. This time, there's a pretty big hole. Solomon's across the 10. He's very close to the line to gain. I think they're going to mark him about a yard shy. Good run there by Jaquay Solomon, and obviously really good blocking by the Falcon offensive line.
Able to find a hole. Solomon able to get 8 yards. It gives the Falcons a chance to convert on 3rd down.
So now 3rd down and 1 for Fitchburg State. Obviously, they're not going to be just satisfied with having enough room to properly punt the ball. Solomon gets the carry. He's got plenty of yards in front of him. Great blocking there. Jaquay Solomon wasn't even touched until he was across the 15-yard line. They're going to put him out of bounds at the 21, and that's a Falcon first down. Take a look at this one, Dan.
Just knew he wanted to run to the left from the get-go, and Worcester was pretty much selling out for a run up the middle. Didn't happen. thinking they only needed the 1 yard, but instead he goes to the left, he sees daylight there, he runs through it, and it's a first down for the green and gold.
Fitchburg State's offensive line doing a really good job thus far. Worcester State only goes with 3 down defensive linemen. Play action fake, pass to the right side is complete. First catch of the day for Jesse Brown. It's a gain of about 5 yards.
For the Falcons, Brown being the lead receiver seems to be the expectation today as we watch it on the replay. The play action quick throw over the middle, and Brown able to make the catch, although quickly wrapped up by Bobby Pangiotopoulos. That's a 6-syllable name, by the way.
It is. It's a good name. Second down and 5 for the Falcons after the quick completion. Handoff up the middle this time. And Jaquay Solomon once again. He's close to the first down marker. They're going to stop the clock, move the chains. First down, Fitchburg State. So as we take a look at this one, Dan, Fitchburg's offensive line is really taking advantage of not just the undersized nature of Worcester State, but the lack of personnel. Worcester State runs typically a 3-3-5 defense, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. That leaves them vulnerable to the run game that Fitchburg State has been using thus far. Now again a handoff on first down. Jaquay Solomon gets a couple. Gain of about 3.
Gets him just past the 35, just short of the 36-yard line. That is interesting that Worcester is committing so much to the pass game, especially considering how much the Falcons have struggled with the pass game in the first 2 games of the season. The run game seems to be where the Falcons have been more comfortable, given what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. And Worcester's giving them a little more of an opportunity there, but it looks like the linebackers are setting up here on second down, maybe expecting the run this time.
Second down, Brandon Brown, however, will throw long. He's got a man wide open, incredibly open. Big pass down the left sideline. That's Mike August with the catch. He had nobody within 3 yards of him.
First career catch for Mike August, the freshman from Boca Raton, Florida. And you look at that, just an incredible aired out throw from one Florida native to another.
Brown had all day to throw, just kind of flung it out there. August was wide open. Now back to live action. Jaquay Solomon gets the carry on first down. He's across the 15, marking down at about the 14-yard line. It's a 48-yard completion to Mike August, and Fitchburg State's offense is knocking at the door with now 3:47 to play here in the first quarter.
Started this drive inside their own 1-yard line and now in the Worcester State red zone.
Falcons looking to put points on the board for the first time today. Second down and 8. Jaquay Solomon, the carry, cuts it up the middle. It's going to be brought down at about the 11. It's a gain of about another 3.
And you look at Jaquay Solomon, he's not a big bruising back, 5 feet 4 inches tall, 165 pounds. Makes it a little easier to duck out of those tackles if you've got people trying to tackle all above him, if you know what I mean. Now another third down for Fitchburg.
3rd and 5 for the Falcons. Solomon sets up to the right of Brown. And he gets the carry, looking for a hole up the middle. Not really finding anything. He is stood up after a gain of a couple. Falcons are going to send out the field goal unit.
So they've driven it about 90 yards downfield, but in this case, the Falcons want to try to take what could very well be sure points, but of course, no free points in college football. Bryce Santos is officially 0 for 0. He had a field goal attempt blocked last week, but there was a penalty against Castleton, so that doesn't count against him as a miss.
Looks like it's going to be about a 27-yard field goal. Kyreek Watford, the snapper. Connor Fitzsimons, the hold. It's a low snap, good hold, however, and the kick is up and through. So with 2:06 to play here in the first quarter, Fitchburg State gets the first points of the day, And I'd say that's a successful drive. You start inside your own 1 yard line and you come out of it leading, you'll take that.
I believe so as well, and I liked what the Falcons did. I liked what I saw out of them on that drive downfield. They seem to really be taking advantage of Worcester struggling on the defensive line. Of course, the D-line definitely did hold up a little better when they got close into the red zone, but the Falcons able to get a field goal out of it, their first field goal of the season, and they lead 3-0.
Fitchburg State's running game, and you actually see there Jaquay Solomon talking to the offense. I think the Falcons, Dan, really do have an advantage on the ground in this game. Worcester State, I mean, this is their base defense. They come in with 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and the 5 defensive backs all the time. That's what they run. And I think Fitchburg State's offensive line and their running backs can really take advantage of that.
Absolutely. One less man than you normally expect, either with the 4-3 or the 3-4. And so they take advantage of that, create some gaps in the running game. And it's good to see that the offensive line, at least at the beginning of this game, has been dictating the offense for the Falcons. Even on the plays where Brandon Brown has been intended to pass, he's had the time to make the pass.
Santos will kick it away for Fitchburg State. Good kick, end over end, taken in just inside the 10-yard line. Trying to cut it up along the far sideline, really not much doing there. Finally brought down about the 30-yard line is Chris Caesar, kick returner out of Lowell for Worcester State. So now, Dan, as the Lancer offense comes back out onto the field, do you think we're going to see a little more of that aerial attack out of Noah Brum?
Well, Brum has been 3 for 4 thus far for 17 yards, but he's been going with mostly short passes in this contest. He hasn't really tried to air it out, and the one time he did, there was no Lancer within 10 yards of the football.
Worcester State with a triple stack on the near sideline. I think Brum was trying to, honestly, I don't know who Brum was looking for there. They had 3 receivers in kind of a triangle, and Noah Brum threw that ball right to the middle of the triangle, if you know what I'm saying.
And when you throw the ball into no man's land, like you have when you have a pop fly in the shallow infield, and you've got the 2 infielders, the outfielder all converging into that no man's land, and that's what Noah Brum put it.
Now second down handoff. Fitchburg State wraps that up immediately. That for a second looked like it was going to be a big play, but David Morales had something to say about it.
Morales, the junior defensive end from Lawrence, coming up immediately and wrapping Hunter Pawpaw. And let's look at the replay.
It's a designed run to the left. Pawpaw has plenty of room in front of him. Unfortunately, he also has Morales behind him. Now 3rd and 13 for the Lancers. Home crowd here at Elliott Field chanting for their defense. Brum back to pass, completed over the middle, runs out of 1 tackle, doesn't run out of another. The ball is loose. That is a fumble, and the Falcons have fallen on it. I thought the Falcons fell on it.
It looked to me like they absolutely had control of the football. They might also be ruling that maybe it was down earlier. I don't think it was ever in a position where Worcester had possession of the ball and was down. And it sure looked like Fitchburg had the ball at the very end.
Hear the Worcester State coaches shouting white ball. They think it's theirs, obviously.
They're a bit biased.
Just a little.
The play is ruled down at the 49-yard line. Fitchburg State ball.
Okay. So Fitchburg State recovered the fumble and then was down at the 49, and the ball popped out again. And that second fumble did not happen. Fitchburg State recovers, and it'll be first down Falcons at the Lancer 49.
And for the first time this year, the Falcons force a turnover. It comes on a third down play with a minute to go in the first quarter.
And what did we say, Dan, coming into this one? Worcester State turns the ball over 8 times on the season coming in. Fitchburg State's defense had not yet forced one. They just did.
What a timely time to do so.
So now 1st and 10, Falcons at the Lancer 49. I mean, if I'm playing Madden right now, I'm going for a dagger. But I'm not playing Madden right now, so maybe I should shut up. Brown back to pass. Plenty of time now, finally under pressure, and he is going to be sacked. Driven into from behind. He's able to lunge forward, so it's only a loss of a couple. I think Jim McGuire had the same idea I did. The coverage was just really good downfield.
I think he was going with that as well. And by the time Brown realized he was probably going to have to run with it, his line had collapsed, and he was surrounded by Lancers, was able to push forward and get a couple of yards, but it still ends up being a loss of 3. About 4 seconds difference between the game and play clock.
Falcons have to run one more play here in the first quarter of action. They're now back in their own territory, 2nd and 13 at the 48. And it'll be a handoff to Jaquay Solomon, trying to get some of that yardage back. He ducks out of a few tackles and is brought down at the 45-yard line. So as we wrap up the first quarter of action here, Dan, it's a really, really good quarter if you're a fan of Fitchburg State.
Absolutely. They played that quarter pretty well, all things considered. The running game was working, the passing game. They got a great pass from Brandon Brown to Mike August, which helped set up that field goal. It's definitely a good start for the Falcons. You know, they force Worcester State to punt the ball, and even though they put it inside the Falcon 1, they were able to go 90 yards and get a field goal out of it regardless, and then they get their first forced turnover of the season for Worcester, now their 9th turnover of the season.
While we have a moment here, we want to thank the all-volunteer crew of FATV, and it is a big crew today. We have all hands on deck and then some. John Dextre doing the directing today, Travis Falk running replay, Dave Oster coordinating everything, really, Nicole Gaffney, Charlie Ollis, Jared Roberts, Matt Carroll, Ed Friedis, Matt Murdoka, Evan Burns, and Katie Neubauer all running cameras for us today. We thank everybody for doing that, and, you know, well, I'm John, he's Dan. We're okay. We're here. You know,
we do things. We say words. They come out of your television or your laptop or your computer
phone.
Or your phone. We thank everyone tuning in.
Or your sentient Alexa speaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we thank everyone tuning in on Comcast, on Verizon, on FATV.org,
on FitchburgFalcons.com, on MassCAC.tv. We're everywhere, Dan. We own the world. It's a lot of responsibility, actually. It's difficult. Here, you take the responsibility. You call the play-by-play of the second quarter, okay?
All right.
Okay.
First off, they've got to reset the chains. They weren't quite in the right spot.
Well, you know, it's a detail.
Mm-hmm. So once they get that straightened out,
it's a quibble.
So the Falcons will need to gain the Lancer 39 for a first down. They'll have 3rd and 6 from the Lancer 45. Solomon remains in the backfield, 2 receivers to the near side and 2 to the right side. A 4-receiver set. Throw is complete to Mike August. He's going to have the first down, cutting to the right at the 35-yard line and tackled just past there. And the Falcons have that first down again. Mike August with the first.
Second time today they've gone to August. Take a look at it again. Brown is looking for him all the way. It's actually of, let's call it some good downfield blocking instead of the blatantly obvious holding that was going on by Jesse Brown to open up that hole for Mike August to get some good yardage after the catch. Good downfield blocking. That's what it was.
12-yard gain for August and the Falcons. They'll have it from the 33. On first down, Jaquay Solomon trying to cut around to the right side. Wrapped up there. He's only going to get 1 yard out of it. So early on here in the second quarter, 3-0 Fitchburg on a Bryce Santos field goal. Also a beautiful, beautiful day here at Elliott Field.
It really is.
Partly cloudy skies, temperatures mid to high 70s, I think, something like that.
Feels warmer than that, to be honest with you.
It does. Summer's last gasp for the transition to fall. 2nd down and 9. Play action fake, throw to the left side. It's a bounce into the hands of Kevin Quinn, but it's a forward pass, so that will be incomplete.
Real quick, I want to give an update on the condition of Darius Morkeski, one of the Falcon offensive linemen, injured early in the first quarter of this one. He is still sitting on the medical table here along the near sideline. He's got, he had ice on his left ankle. I think it's just taped now. He's slowly putting his socks back on. So it looks like he's trying to get back into this one, but he has not yet returned to action.
Yep, and with that, Stefan Armand has had to step in there on the line. On 3rd down now, Brown looking to pass, throws incomplete, a bit too high for Kevin Quinn. It'll bring up 4th down, and the Falcons are in that maroon zone. So I believe they're going to have to go for it here.
Quinn was covered well by Bobby Pangiotopoulos. Pass was a little high, however, and indeed they will send out the offense to go for it. 4th and 8 at the Lancer 32. Can't say I disagree with the call. I think it's the right one.
It's too deep to punt at a 49-yard field goal.
I mean, if you can reliably make 49-yard field goals, you ain't kicking at D3.
Exactly. Now Brown looking. Will throw it high to the left side, but it's well overthrown. They wanted to find Anthony Santiago, but he wasn't able to get around the coverage of Chris Caesar.
To be honest with you, Dan, I'm not sure if the pass was overthrown or if Santiago and Caesar kind of got mixed up with each other just as the ball was released. It looked like Santiago maybe stumbled, lost his footing, which resulted in the pass being thrown to basically nobody.
One of those things that happens. And so the Falcons will turn it over. Worcester State will come back onto the field with fairly decent field position, 32-yard line. Falcons tried to go to the passing game, but it wasn't working out too well for them once they got that far downfield. Worcester able to hold firm, and now the Lancers have 1st and 10. So on 1st down, a handoff up the middle, but getting next to nowhere, actually getting minus a yard is Bookie McBean, the sophomore from Dorchester.
Bookie McBean, one of my favorite names I've ever called. Sophomore running back, as you said, out of Dorchester, Massachusetts. And it's been an interesting situation to watch with the running back situation for Worcester State, Dan. We saw Dex Andrews early on in the game, but we haven't really seen him much in their 2nd and 3rd possessions. It's been a lot of Hunter Pawpaw and Bookie McBean now.
Now Brum looking to pass on 2nd down, gets a pass off, but it is overthrown, and a flag comes in late. Overthrown for Dominique Lee, but was it overthrown because Lee was held up?
Looked like he might have been, to be honest with you.
The flag came in from the place that you'd expect for pass interference.
Before the pass was thrown, holding, defense number 25, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
So it'll be a defensive hold instead of pass interference, which changes the penalty from a 15-yard penalty to a 10-yard penalty. It is 10 yards at the college football level as opposed to 5 in the NFL. But the story remains the same. It's a fresh set of downs for the Lancers. And on 1st down, Brum wants to throw. He throws to the left side. That's tipped and incomplete. He wanted to find Zach McAllister.
Javon White did a good job getting a hand in there and deflecting that ball away.
McAllister, junior tight end, he is from Gardner, coming from North County down south to Worcester. One of a few of those players from North County playing with the Lancers in this battle of Worcester County Division III football programs.
It is the Sterling Cup, after all.
Throw over the middle, and that one is caught, pulled in with one hand and held on to. That's Jake Maurer. Jacob Marr, I should say. That's how you correctly pronounce his name. And Marr is going to get the 1st down for the Lancers.
Let's take a look at this one again. It's a really good one-handed catch by Marr. The ball is a little out in front of him. He does a good job just reaching out and picking that ball out of the air. Worcester State's offense is on the move now, 1st and 10 inside Falcon territory.
And now it's going to be McBean. He's going to try to run to the right side, cut back to his left to try to go straight up. He's not going to get anything on that one. Second down coming.
Wendell Lubin, one of the men leading the hit there for the Falcons. McBean brought down for no gain at all.
Coming in today, McBean had 10 carries for 62 yards along of 40. He also had the only fumble between himself, Dex Andrews, and Hunter Pawpaw, or Pawpaw, I should say. Second down. Looking to his left is Brum. He wants to throw it. He's going to throw it too far. Again, was looking for Dominique Lee, but I think this time it's legal defense by the Falcons making that not happen. It'll be third down.
Pass was just a little bit out ahead of Lee. He extended as far as he could, but he wasn't quite able to get the fingertips on top of that one.
So now it comes to 3rd and 10. Lancers 1 for 3 on third down today. They were 2 of 11 last week against Becker College. Got trips to the left and one to the right. And Brum is looking to his left, still looking there. Rolling out, will go with the short dump-off pass, and he badly overthrew that one.
I think he wanted to hit Jordan Choquette, his tight end, but he wasn't able to do that. Excuse me, Choquette's the 4th receiver for Worcester State. They don't typically go with the tight end.
In the end, miscommunication, trying to make something a bit unusual. I've said Brum does like to throw, but often we have seen him throwing the ball in places where there isn't really anybody in white.
Well, that's detail. You don't want that.
It might also tie into the many interceptions he's thrown. As here's the wide receiver turned punter. Kevin Quinn will call for the fair catch. He's not going to let it roll to the 1 this time, but it is going to be inside the 10. Another great punt by Cam Charette.
It's a wonderful punt by Charette. I have to question, I understand it has the potential to bounce at the 1, but why are you catching the ball at your own 5-yard line? Just let it bounce, and it's still more likely than not going through the end zone, isn't it?
It may very well be. It could have just been a bit of concerns and nerves from Kevin Quinn. Didn't want to take that chance of it going to the 1 again, but then again, the 6 is not too much better, is it?
It's not that great.
It's better than the 1, though. It's much better than the 1.
It's like 6 times better than the 1.
So 1st and 10 from the 6-yard line. Falcons starting deep in their own territory yet again today. And on 1st down, it's going to be Garland running up the middle. Still pushing there. I would call that a maul, but it was all Lancers trying to push him back. It was 1 against 3. The Falcons able to get a few yards out of that one. Looks like about 6, actually.
Good second effort there by Chris Tamiketti. Just kind of pushed the pile.
And that was Tamiketti. Good catch on that one.
Yeah, again, Sterling Garvin suffered that left leg injury last week. Actually, after the play here, looks like there was some shoving going on. Worcester State defense not terribly happy with the way the Falcons have dominated on the ground thus far.
So Tamiketti gets 6 yards on his first carry of the day. 2nd and 4. We'll give it to him again. This time trying to find the hole. Gets a second effort. He's able to get close to the marker this time. I think he might have it.
Chris Tamiketti was very lucky not to be wrapped up. He basically slammed right into the line at the line of scrimmage, was able to bounce off of that, plunge in again, got himself 4 or 5 yards and moved the chains. It's another Fitchburg 1st down.
The way he ran into the line, I thought he was going to be stopped for about a yard at most, but he was able to bounce off of the line, prevent himself from getting wrapped up, as you said, John. Able to find a hole and get 5. And so the Falcons get the 1st down. Still deep in their own territory. Now around the 18-yard line. It will be another handoff for Tamiketti. Jumps over one of the tacklers and is able to get some more yards down at the 25-yard line. About 7 on that play.
Dan, this Falcon running game, there's nothing fancy about it. There's been like 1 pitch, but for the most part, it's a handoff up the middle, it's a handoff to the right, it's a handoff to the left, but they're getting yards, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards at a time. It really isn't fancy, but it's been very effective thus far.
It's been nice to see how comfortable the Falcons have been going with a running game here today, especially They've been making most of their plays on the run. Well, with the exception of that one long pass to Mike August. And Tamaketti's going to run around the left side this time, try to duck out of many tackles, still going. And after all that, he's going to get to about the 26-yard line. It's only about a 1-yard gain for all that is, but still a lot of good effort by Tamaketti. And
it's actually
Sterling.
It's back to Solomon.
It's back to go. Yep. You know, the fact is, all the running backs for the Falcons, they have ones on the end of their numbers. You know, Sterling Garvin's 1, Chris Tamaketti's 11, Jaquay Solomon is 21, and I think I've just been assuming that it's the same guy every time. It's not.
It's not. In fact, today it will not be Sterling Garvin. He is not playing today.
And if I say Sterling Garvin, I've got to throw a coin in the swear jar. As it's a run up the middle this time from Solomon. There is a flag on the field. In the vicinity of the 25-yard line.
Flag was thrown pretty much right at the snap. It's usually an indicator of maybe an illegal formation.
Or perhaps encroachment in the neutral zone.
Offsides, defense number 84. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
And so it was a free play for the Falcons, and they're going to get the first down out of this.
All right.
8:40 to go in the second quarter. Falcons leading 3-0. But the offense, they've been looking pretty solid thus far.
You know, it's come in fits and starts. You know, they had the advantage of the big pass downfield on their scoring drive. This time it's an offside penalty that gives them 5 yards and the first off of what had been a third down. Actually, I think Worcester State's head coach Brian Cullen is conferring with the referee on the far sideline. Might have another announcement forthcoming.
They also have not moved the chains at any point. The Falcons are ready to go. Have they actually moved the ball after the penalty? Because I don't think they have.
The down marker is situated as though the line of scrimmage is the 25-yard line, which it had been. The ball is at the 30, as though the penalty's already been assessed.
But the chains in the box remain where they are right now. And now the referee is talking with Jim McGuire.
Seems to be a rather amicable conversation.
It was on green. It was on Fitchburg State lining up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, 3 plays down.
So it is actually not offside. It is an illegal formation against the Falcons. And that will set up 3rd down and 7 from the 20 instead of 1st and 10 at the 30.
So in the end, they realized the penalty was actually against Fitchburg. It was Mike August who was lined up in the neutral zone. And so it was not a free play. And so the Falcons will have to convert on this 3rd down. And now what do we got?
I think Fitchburg has taken their first time out, wanting to give themselves a little bit more time to think about what they're going to do here on 3rd down and 7, and that gives us a chance to get in our first of what will be many shameless plugs. Our next telecast will actually be a Friday night game, our first high school match of the season. We've got Fitchburg High taking on Neshoba Regional this Friday, September the 21st from historic Crocker Field. I'm excited to be in the booth with Dave Clark and Mike Flynn this season. Looking forward to doing that. Our next Falcon telecast will be 2 weeks from today, Saturday, September the 29th, Fitchburg State taking on the Massachusetts Maritime Academy. Fitchburg State actually beat Mass Maritime 2-0 in women's soccer earlier today.
And the men's soccer team was down at Buzzards Bay today, and they put up the same scoreline, a 2-0 victory over the men's soccer.
So if the football team can get it done, Fitchburg State has a clean sweep here on today's action.
That, of course, includes Fitchburg State field hockey beating Salem 4-3 earlier today as well. And so on 3rd down, after all of this, the Falcons aren't able to get anything. They went to Jaquay Solomon on the carry, and he could not find a gap to run through.
Just did the quick draw play. Brandon Brown didn't really do much of a job selling that. I don't think Worcester State thought for a moment that that was actually going to be a pass. And Bryce Santos will lead the punting unit onto the field.
So the momentum stymied by the penalty. That was once thought to be against Worcester, but was against Fitchburg. And Bryce Santos will be tasked to punt it away. Nearly blocked there. A good run in by Pangiotopoulos. And this will take a Falcon bounce, and it's a run towards the football there. And it might have went off of one of the Lancers as well, so it could very well be a live ball. There's also a flag on the play.
You need to temper your expectations, Dan. There was a running into the kick returner. Chris Caesar was not given a proper opportunity to make the reception on that punt. So I believe that regardless of what happened after the ball hit the turf, this is going to be 5 or is it 15 yards from that spot, and Worcester State will take over.
It would be 15 yards.
Pretty sure that's the situation here.
Kick-catch interference on the kicking team. 15 yards, first down.
And that is the situation. Chris Caesar was lined up to take that punt in, and then just man coming down to make the tackle hit him a little too soon. And we'll see it right here. And right there, right shoulder into the left shoulder. You can't do that, unfortunately. And Stephen Lawton is the man responsible for a 15-yard penalty that sets Worcester State up inside Falcon territory.
A bit too ambitious there. That's the second time now in 3 weeks the Falcons have been called for kick-catch interference. That's a penalty you don't see very often, but yet now it's happened twice. And this is a different quarterback for the Lancers now that we look at it. As on first down, it is Dex Andrews with the handoff, but that is Aaron Moses Williams who made the handoff there.
Aaron Moses Williams, the freshman out of Springfield, Massachusetts, graduate of Central.
So they've changed up quarterbacks here. The reserve on the two deep was Mike Cadlick, so they've gone right to the third choice. Very interesting to see. And Williams on second down rolling to his right now. Trying to get around Kyrie Wofford. He's going to get the pass off, the dump off in time. But flags are on the field. Several flags are on the field.
There are 3 flags in the area of the 45-yard line.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense number 64. 15-yard penalty, down.
As I was saying, there were 3 flags about the 45-yard line, and Samuel Kenny of the Falcons had his helmet ripped off. You know, you put 2 and 2 together, and it makes sense that you had illegal hands to the face against Worcester State.
And if you've got 3 penalty flags on the field, it sounds like that would be a very blatant penalty.
You would think.
Now, Aaron Moses Williams, as we said, he is a freshman, 5'11", 170, and his first name is double-barreled. His first name is Aaron Moses, which is very interesting.
Now, one thing, Dan, I did notice during warm-ups is that the backup quarterback, Mike Cadlick, is left-handed. I don't know if necessarily Worcester State wanted to change up the handedness of their quarterback midstream like that. So that may play a factor into the decision to go with Williams.
And an incompletion there as Frank Cadenoso was just not on the same page with Williams. He was in motion, and then Williams told him to go back because he was going to throw to him. And then by the time he's in position, basically, the pass is in front of him and he can't haul it in. No coordination whatsoever, and it brings up 3rd and Gardner.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you see it on the replay there. So on 3rd down, they just go to the handoff here and trying to get some yards, get anything. Is Andrews. It's not going to get very much, about a yard, maybe 2, but it's many, many yards short of where he needs to be.
Just a couple dozen yards shy of the line to gain there. So Max Andrews back in the ball game as the carrier there, and really nothing at all doing for him. Kevin Quinn is set up at about just 5 yards past where Worcester State needs to get for a first down here.
We've seen some great punting out of Cam Charette thus far. He will call for the fair catch that may have come in and out of his hands.
That absolutely did. That is a Lancer ball. Cam Charette has been the best offensive weapon Worcester State has. Kevin Quinn called for the fair catch. We'll take a look at the replay here. He's already moving backwards when he calls for the fair catch, and then he reaches out, just can't make the catch, and as soon as that ball touches his fingertips, it is live, and Worcester State is able to recover it.
In that position, and if you've got to reach across your body, you've just got to let the ball go and try to get out of the way of it. And Charette clearly had boomed that kick a lot farther than Quinn had expected it to go. He had backpedaled 10, 15 yards. And Quinn just got all crossed up, tried to have a go at it. He couldn't haul it in. And that's the most damaging thing of all, because it lets Worcester recover the football. And now they have a chance at 6 as Pow Pow on first down. Pushing forward, the maul is formed. But Pow Pow is pushed back. He'll get the forward progress, and he'll get a couple of yards.
And it is Noah Brum back in at quarterback for Worcester State. Don't know if maybe there was an injury situation that necessitated him being taken out for a series, but they are not going with Aaron Moses Williams. It is back to Noah Brum.
I found it interesting how I've been, crossed up on the Falcons running core today, and yet I immediately caught 9 and 8. 5:20 to go.
The mysteries of life, Dan.
5:20 to go in the second quarter, 3-0 Fitchburg, but Worcester is threatening. Brum looking to his right all the way, throws into the end zone. Touchdown, Worcester State. And wouldn't you know it, Cam Charette in his primary position, a wide receiver. Very much the big offensive weapon today for Worcester State.
Charette, the man primarily responsible for Worcester State's field position, and he's the man who brings in this touchdown pass. Just like that, Worcester State has taken the lead 5 minutes before halftime.
And now, at the swinging gate there. And now what do we get?
I think the Falcons are going to take time out. They were not ready for that. So Fitchburg State wasn't quite ready for the swinging gate on the extra point attempt. They'll call timeout, try to get ready for it in the 30 seconds or so that they have. Worcester State looking to go up by 4 or maybe 5. Who's to say?
We'll do a scoreboard update while we have a chance.
Absolutely.
In the MASCAC last night, UMass Dartmouth took down Westfield State 28-9. UMass Dartmouth getting all 28 points in the third quarter, taking advantage of several Owls miscues. Framingham State leads Bridgewater 27-13, start of the fourth down in Framingham. Plymouth State over Western Connecticut 28-13 right now. They're in the third quarter. And Maine Maritime and Mass Maritime are playing each other for the 46th Annual Admirals Cup. And we have no updates from Buzzards Bay. And just as a dumb aside, Maine Maritime, if you've been looking at their box scores lately, they've abandoned the triple option.
Oh, no.
They're throwing over the air now.
Oh, how dare they? I like the triple option. It's fun.
Lancers line up for a 2-point conversion.
So here comes the swinging gate again. And it's going to be an illegal formation, isn't it?
Probably.
Ball start, offense. Number 76, 5-yard penalty, repeat the try.
That or Michael Reed went before he should have.
One of those. Bit of a gift for the Falcons. It looked like that time Worcester State would have converted for the 2. And I think if the Lancers have a conventional extra point formation, we're going to see it here.
So Noah Wong, he's 2 for 3 on extra points this season. He'll have to kick a 25-yard extra point this time if he wants it. Charette is the holder. Puts it down. This is up. And this is no good. Wide left. Wide right is what it is. Well, it's wide.
It is. So Fitchburg State gets a bit of a break after a massive miscue on the punt return, basically gifted the Lancers a touchdown and the lead. And now, Dan, their offense will have 5 minutes to work with as they try to march downfield and take the lead back. Remember, of course, Worcester State won the opening coin toss and deferred, so they will get the ball to start the third quarter of action.
All things considered, the one positive is the Falcons are probably going to have their best field position as they may have had, since the initial kickoff, since Charette has been so good at punting the ball downfield. However, it's also noteworthy that Noah Wong on the first kickoff today kicked a line drive, and those are always challenging to deal with.
This is true.
So everyone has to be alert, especially the up men, because there's always that possibility that Wong might aim for one of them, try to peg it off him, and boy, we've seen that before.
We have. Line drive hits an up man, bounces right back to the kicking team. We've definitely seen that.
Last time Maritime was here, I believe. So here is the line drive. It gets some air. It's picked up by the Falcons on the near sideline. This is Vincent Aramo who was able to pull that one in. That's very interesting. Aramo is one of the quarterbacks on this team.
Well, Vincent Aramo is a man who can do many different things, it seems.
He was a very mobile quarterback for Neshoba Tech. So he's got enough comfortable hands to be on the return team. He gets some yards on that, gets it to the 40.
Absolutely. He's a freshman quarterback on a team whose leader is a freshman quarterback. I mean, you can do the math there and realize that if everything goes well, there's not going to be that much playing time for him at quarterback. So, contribute where you can.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Falcons from the 40-yard line. Brown with the handoff, finds Jaquay Solomon. Solomon finds a hole, and he's still running. He's past midfield, and he's wrapped up by the legs. Down just short of the 40-yard line in Worcester State territory. A first down for the Falcons.
Man, Jaquay Solomon just gets lost in the pile and then emerges. Where does he go here? Goes right up the middle. He's almost swallowed up, and then there's just nobody there to actually make the tackle. Great second effort running. He's into Lancer territory down at the 41-yard line.
It appeared it was Lenny then who was able to wrap him up. If he'd gotten one more yard, he would have gone from 40 to 40 there. It'll be 19-yard gain for Jaquay Solomon. And now Chris Tamaketi will come in. On a new first down, Tamaketi right up the middle. He's going to get 5 straight away.
Now, Dan, one thing we've noticed in addition to Worcester State having only the 3 down defensive linemen, they have one of the smaller rosters of the opponents we've seen Fitchburg State have this season. As this game goes on and as this running game is so effective for Fitchburg State, it could even be more so as the defense for the Lancers just gets tired.
It could very well come into play. The Lancers do have 83 players on their roster, which is smaller than Cortland and Castleton, who had enough players to the point that we needed a supplementary roster for all the duplicate numbers. As on second down, Solomon going right up the middle, gets another 5, and 5 plus 5 is 10, and that's a first down. And I know he got 6, but let me make my point.
It's fine. It was a Sesame Street thing. I was letting you go. I didn't say anything.
All right. That's just for the viewers at home complaining for whatever reason.
They're complaining about us complaining about them complaining now. So you can't win.
It's getting very meta.
Wait, meta? Hold on, stop. Never mind, go.
Okay, 200 seconds to go, first half. Falcons trail 6-3. Solomon back in the backfield, 3 receivers to the right, but they'll go with the run. And Solomon trying to push forward. He's only going to get about a yard this time. After 2 strong runs, you're due for a weak one that time. Anthony Casparillo making the tackle. He's from Westboro.
It'll be interesting to see what the Lancers choose to do, especially if the Falcons are stopped here on 2nd and 8. They do have, I believe they have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
I believe so as well. As Solomon now trying to move around to the left side. He didn't find a hole there. He finds something here on the right side. And Solomon's going to be taken out of bounds inside the 15-yard line.
That is incredible running by Jaquay Solomon. The play is designed to go off tackle to the right, and there's just nothing there. Take a look at it here. It's supposed to go to the right. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. He runs into a man, takes off to his left, and look at Brandon Brown, the starting quarterback, running downfield, trying to find a block for him. Jaquay Solomon is able to get to the 15-yard line. Fitchburg State now, with 2 minutes left to play here in the first half, are looking to take the lead.
The run game continues to be efficient. I think Worcester wants time. Oh, Fitchburg's going to call their last timeout here with 1:49 to go in the first half.
Good time for the offense to take a breath, get some water, calm down, and think about what you're going to do with your last possession here. You've got 1:49, that's plenty of time. You don't necessarily have to go to the air. You can still hand the ball off a few times.
Based on what I can see right now, the Falcons have definitely run for over 100 yards here in this first half.
Fitchburg State's running game really has been the story of the day. They had the one big pass on offense, but other than that, it's been all about the ground game for the Falcons. Trying to convert that into points here.
In a sense, it's also impressive that they do this with just one running back, not trying to use two in the backfield or go with a triple option or something like that. Tomaketti's going to be the one getting the handoff here as he tries to push forward. And now the ball formed yet again, and it's going to be worth about an extra yard or two. Gets the ball just about to the 10-yard line.
Dan, I think that's a good example of the size advantage that Fitchburg State has in terms of both the size of the men and the number of men on offense. You know, they've got their 5 offensive linemen, they've got a tight end. Worcester State going with 3 down defensive linemen and 3 linebackers. They were able to get in there, push the pile forward, get Chris Tomaketti a couple extra yards.
So about 4 yards gained, 4.5. Empty backfield, but now Solomon goes in motion, play action, throw over the middle. That's going to be intercepted. And yet again, a turnover in the red zone. Kills the drive. It was picked off by Gus Ramstrom.
First time today the Falcons go with a formation other than the man in the backfield. They had the running back Solomon split in the slot. He comes in motion here, fake the sweep to him, and it looks like he's got Riddenauer open. Unfortunately, the pass was very well defended. In actuality, Gus Ramstrom deflected it and then brought it in, stymieing what would have been a big swing in momentum. And now for the Lancers, they're almost certainly going into halftime with the lead, getting the ball to start the third quarter. All of a sudden, everything's coming up Worcester.
Turnovers again being costly. The Lancers don't want to go straight into halftime. Noah Brum's running with it. He's not going to get much of anything on that, but it looks like Worcester, if they wanted to, they can run out the clock since Fitchburg's got no more timeouts, but apparently they're not content to do so.
Well, Worcester does have a minute. They do have all 3 of their timeouts. Why not? I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You throw an interception to a team that has demonstrated an inability to throw the ball.
So we have throw down the left side, and that's going to be incomplete as he wanted to find Catanoso. Bit short there. Now 3rd and 9.
Like for Worcester State here, the worst thing that can happen is a pick, and I guess a pick 6 is a possibility. But the chances of that against the chances that you go downfield and score a touchdown, they think it's worth the risk.
And with the score being just 6-3, they want to put some points on the board. 3rd down, Brum looking around. Throw over the middle. This is caught. It's Charette again. Down at the 48.
And that's part of the reason Worcester State feels like they can move the ball. They have a major height advantage there. Cam Charette is a good 3-4 inches taller than anybody the Falcons can put on him. They're going to exploit that mismatch as much as they can.
6'5", from Fairhaven. And on first down, another throw. That is incomplete. And the Lancers want a flag. They think the contact may have prevented Charette from making that pass, but it looked like the ball was way too far in front of him.
I mean, Dan, I don't know. How hard is it to catch a ball after someone shoulder blocks your kidney? Because that's basically what happened.
That is indeed what happened.
Like, you know, I realize I'm a Fitchburg State alum and I'm literally wearing green and gold right now, but Jared Simpson hit him with his shoulder like right before the ball got there. That's against the rules, right?
Looked like the contact was after the ball was released, but nonetheless, Brum scrambling on second down, trying to step up, trying to throw, and that is intercepted! Picked off on the far side by the Falcons and Javon White. And White wants to run this one back if he can. He's at the 40, and he's going to be wrapped up at the 39-yard line. There are 7 seconds left, and the Falcons are going to have a chance.
Disaster for the Lancers. We talked about it earlier. I said, what's the worst that can happen? That's pretty much almost the worst that can happen for Worcester State. They chuck the ball downfield. It is intercepted, and now Fitchburg has a chance. They have to go 39 yards in 7 seconds with no timeouts. I'm not saying it's likely, but that is the risk you run when you try to put points on the board with about a minute to play deep in your own territory.
And as we see on the replay, Brum was never comfortable, just trying to step up, just trying to throw. He gets the throw off, but he overthrows it. He can't find Cantanoso. And it's Javon White who was able to pull it in.
And then Javon White does a great job in the open field, getting as much out of that return as he can, giving his offense a chance to go for 6 points here.
So with 4 receivers, Brown trying to step up, try to get a chance to get a throw off. He is going to get a throw off towards the end zone. And it is incomplete. Couldn't be hauled in, and even if it was, he would have been out of bounds. That was Jesse Brown there, who had a chance at the ball. But in any case, the Falcons do get a chance at the very end. Not able to score on the Hail Mary, and we'll go into halftime with the score, Fitchburg State 3, Worcester State 6.
Back and forth, up and down the field action right at the end of the second quarter there. An exciting first half of football comes to an end with the score 6-3 Lancers. If you are in Fitchburg, folks, we absolutely encourage you, come on down to Elliott Field. It is going to be a doozy of a third and fourth quarter. If you're not, sit tight. We will be back in just 20 minutes time with the second half of action, but for now we're going to take a break. It is Fitchburg State University football right here on FATV. Falcons trail this one by a score of 6-3 against the Lancers of Worcester State University. We're almost ready to start the third quarter of action, but before we do that, we're going to send it back down to our sideline correspondent, Amanda Agassi, who is standing by with another interview.
Ready? Hey everyone, welcome back from the half, and I'm joined by Fitchburg State alum, former wide receiver Phil St. Juste. Thank you so much for joining me.
How you doing, Amanda?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, actually. It's a wonderful day.
Nice. So I want to know, is this your first game back so far?
Yeah, it's my first game back so far. I kind of miss it. Being back here, it's been a while since I've played, so there's a lot of feelings, mixed feelings, you know?
I feel you. We actually had Talib Barksdale come on earlier in the sideline. He said around the same thing. And I also asked him, piece of advice what you would give to the offense since you're a receiver. Any advice you'd give to a Falcon out there?
They look like they run the ball pretty well. So just keep running the ball every down. Just go hard every play, because honestly, this game it goes by fast. So every down, just go hard.
It does go by fast. Yep. I want to know, back in the day, let's take it all the way back to your celebratory dances as a wide receiver.
Wow.
You got to give it to me. I
Really,
asked
right
to leave. Yes.
Okay.
Right now, let's see it.
So I got to give you with the famous Bobby Schmurder dance. One time I hit you with the Smoney dance.
Oh,
hey.
okay.
Hey.
Yes. I like it. Thank you so much for joining us, Phil.
Yeah.
Thank you. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, and thank you as well to Phil St. Juste, a standout receiver during his time with the Falcons. We are just about ready to start the third quarter of action here, Dan. And Dan, but for one man, really, the Falcons would be leading this game, and that man's name is Cam Charette.
Cam Charette doing it offensively and with special teams. 2 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown, but also 3 punts averaging 45 1/3. He's pinned the Falcons inside the 10 twice, and then the third time, led to a fumble, which led to Worcester being in prime position to score the 6 points that they have.
There you see the ball set on the tee. This should be an excellent second half of football. And here with the play-by-play action is Mr. Dan Bolek.
Thank you as we welcome you back to college football Saturday. On the kickoff, the Lancers will take it in, running to the right side. And wrapped up at around the 40-yard line is the Worcester State running back, kick returner in Chris Caesar.
Chris Caesar did a good job there getting positive yardage on the return. Sets the Lancers up 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line. And Dan, statistically, neither quarterback has really done a good job. Noah Brum for Worcester State, 7 completions from 17 attempts, 83 yards and a touchdown for him. Brandon Brown for the Falcons is just 3 out of 10.
Both teams needing to rely on their running games to make anything happen. On first down, it's Hunter Powpow, or Pawpaw. I get that wrong a lot of times, but our pronunciation guy says it's Pawpaw, and he runs for about 3 yards to the left.
Just remember the catchy commercial jingle, Paw Paw Power Wheels. Wait, that's not how it goes. Oh well. It's a gain of 5 for Hunter Pawpaw. Sets up 2nd down and 5 now for the Lancers.
Looks were deceiving. I thought 3, it was 5. 2nd down. Pawpaw's gonna have it again. He finds a hole. He finds a 1st down. He's past midfield. He's still going. Just broke out of a couple of tackles. They can't knock him down. They finally do, but by the time they do, he's closing in on the Falcon 35-yard line.
Just remember that other catchy toy slogan, Pawpaws wobble but they don't fall down? I think that's how that one went. Hunter Pawpaw is a big man, comparatively 5'8", 190, but he plays a lot bigger than that. See him here just lower the shoulder, gets a good second effort, gets a bit of a shove from behind. Now he's onto a 3rd, even a 4th effort before he's brought down.
And now a quick throw left side, incomplete. And once again, Catanoso not able to pull in a catch. Brum and Catanoso have just not been on the same page today. Just 1 catch for Catanoso on at least 4 targets.
That time Catanoso just running the quick little out pattern to the left sideline, the kind of route that you throw when you're trying to build your quarterback's confidence. But unfortunately for the Lancers, Brum wasn't able to hit that.
Now Brum looking back, looking to his right. He's going to get the dump-off pass, and it'll be incomplete. And for the Lancers, that's actually a good thing, because it would have been a loss of yards on the throw to McBean. And whistles as one of the Falcons is slow to get up. And that is, I believe, David Morales.
93 for the Falcons, I believe. Nope, excuse me, it's number 90, and that is David Morales. Obviously favoring the right arm there. And that is not an encouraging sign. The Falcon defense will be without one of their standout junior defensive ends in David Morales.
Falcons will have to send the next man up. As McBean goes in motion, they'll go with the dump-off pass, and he can't haul it in. I'm not sure if he would have gotten the first, but again, 2 passes to McBean, and they just cannot hook up. And suddenly 3 incomplete passes, and the Lancer punt team's gonna come out.
We'll take a look at this one again. McBean goes in motion to the right side. This time perhaps compensating for the last one. The pass is a little high, but I mean, yeah, the pass is a little high, but that's a catch Bookie McBean has got to make. He wasn't able to do it, and it sets up Worcester State having to kick it away.
Well, Charette's punting average is going to go down because there's only 38 yards to gain here.
Watch him get like 37 and a half still.
He's been finding a way. Skies this one into the air. And this time, oh wow.
How do you do that? That's cheating. You can't do that.
Cam Charette found the cheat codes, and he is exploiting them for fun and profit.
You cannot do that.
The Falcons, for the 3rd time today, are pinned inside their own 10-yard line, for the 2nd time inside their own 5 by the punting game of Cam Charette.
NFL punters can't reliably do that.
Falcons 1st and 10 from their own 4.
So the line of scrimmage was the 37, so that is officially a 34-yard punt. But inside 20, yet again for Charette.
And he didn't even like coffin corner it and angle it so that it flew out of bounds. No, it just died at the 3-yard line. How do you do that?
It's impressive. He knows what he's doing. On first down, Solomon dancing around in the middle of the scrum. And he's able to run forward for about a gain of 5, 6, something like that.
Jaquay Solomon has been most of the offense for Fitchburg State in the first half. 20 carries, 104 yards already. Give him 5 more there.
Back-to-back 100-yard games now for Jaquay Solomon. Ran for 174 last week. Falcons need to get to the 13 for a first. At around the 9. Go with another handoff this time. But the hold is not open.
Solomon ball carrier, short gain.
And Solomon just past the 10-yard line.
Sets up third down and about 3 for Fitchburg State.
Falcons are 3 for 7 on third down right now, which is fairly solid compared to the first 2 weeks. Need to get to the 13 for a first. One receiver to the left. And Solomon, he looks like he's found a hole there, but has he gotten enough? That's going to be close.
I think he's got it. Yeah, they are signaling move the chains. That's good for a Fitchburg first down.
Solomon got what he needed. And it's a fresh set of downs for the green and gold. Let's have a look at it.
Take a look here. You see Kyle Driscoll, number 3, was coming on the blitz and then had to adjust and cut back. And that little bit of opening helped create the space that Jaquay Solomon needed.
Falcons get another fresh set of downs.
Falcons first and 10 from their own 14.
Slowly but surely, they make their way downfield. It will be a handoff this time. It's Tamaketi. Tamaketi trying to get around the one receiver. His helmet's come off. It was ripped off of his head.
The ball's come out as well.
The ball's come out. Was there ever a flag? I don't think there was. And it looks like it's Worcester State ball.
Saw Tamaketi's helmet come out. Didn't quite see the hit that knocked the ball loose. We'll take a look at the replay here. Tamaketi cuts to his left. He's got a pretty good hole. It's finally wrapped up. The helmet wasn't even yanked off. It just kind of falls off, and then Tamaketi lets go of the football.
I thought his helmet was ripped off there, personally. And I think maybe Tamaketi thought, it wasn't going to matter, as that should have been a penalty for a face mask. It was not given. And so that leads to the fumble. Worcester gets the ball.
The second time today, the Falcons have turned the ball over inside the 15-yard line.
And Worcester gets an absolute gift.
Worcester first and 10 from the Fitchburg 14.
First and 10 now from the 14. Brum looking for the end zone. He wants 6 right now. And he's gonna have 6 right now. Touchdown, Lancers.
Great job by Jacob Marr making the adjustment in midair after that ball was thrown. He was one-on-one with DeMonte Hart of the Falcons, and that time Marr got the better of the exchange. We'll take a look at it again on replay.
Preseason All-American Jacob Marr able to reach out and get that one. Hart just not able to follow the play quickly enough. Worcester looks like they want to do the swinging gate again. They're going to have a go at it. Running towards the end zone. Did he get across? He did. And that was Austin Nunn who brings it over. 2-point conversion is good. It's 14-3.
Worcester State's offense has barely moved the ball at all today, but they have 2 touchdowns because of gifts from Fitchburg State. There was the fumbled punt return on a ball that, quite frankly, you shouldn't have even tried to catch. And now the fumble on a play that may or may not have had a missed call, but still, you're losing the football, you're turning it over, you're giving Worcester State the ball inside the 15-yard line. You can't ask your defense to stop them.
Turnovers again being costly to the Falcons. And again, those 2 turnovers, Worcester has not had to drive very far. In fact, on their 2 touchdown drives, they've driven a combined total of 21 yards.
to claim your
You're not going to win football games if you're giving the other team the ball at the 6-yard line or at the 15-yard line.
So the Falcons have turned the ball over twice with fumbles. They've turned it over once with an interception, 3 turnovers today. That continues to rear its ugly head. Now a different kicker for the Lancers here.
It's Sam Liss kicking that one away.
So that's taken in by the Falcons. Juandre House, I believe. And he gets to about the 30 or so.
So it was, I believe, Sam Liss, listed on the scorecard as a defensive back out of Westboro, who did the kicking that time for Worcester State. And I think, obviously, the Falcons had shown preparedness for the low line drive kicks that were coming from Noah Wong. So, Worcester State, Brian Cullen, they make the decision to go with a more conventional kicker with a strong leg, and that they found in Sam Liss.
Interesting how these players who are doing the kicking for Worcester, as this is Solomon, who gets 11 right on that for a first down. But to finish my point, it's interesting how they've got Liss, who's a defensive back, who's doing the kickoff there, and then they've got, of course, Charette, who's a wide receiver by trade, doing the punting, and a great effect. And you can see Solomon bursting through, getting the 11 yards.
I mean, at this point, Dan, should we really say, maybe Cam Charette is just a punter who plays wide receiver occasionally? He is a really good punter.
He is surely in the conversation for Special Teamer of the Week. Not just for the MASCAC. Maybe D3 football should be paying attention for this one. There is Solomon going through the middle again. He gets to midfield. 6-yard gain on another first down for the Falcons.
Take a look at this one again. Just another good run by Jaquay Solomon.
Now an official timeout here with 10-12 to go in the third quarter, a 14-3 lead for Worcester State.
Well, we did have the head linesman on the near sideline having an exchange with Jim McGuire, Falcons head coach, and he was the one who blew the whistle to initiate that stoppage in play. Not quite sure what the situation is. You see Coach McGuire there talking with Connor Fitzsimons, his backup quarterback.
So 2nd and 4 from midfield for the green and gold. 3 receiver set. And it'll be a run up the middle. And bursting through for at least 5 is Solomon.
There's nothing fancy to it, but it's effective nonetheless. It's another handoff up the middle. This time Solomon just finds the hole, lunges forward, gets 4 or 5 yards and a first down.
He is in his comfort zone behind this Falcon O-line. The Falcons get another first down. And this time Solomon again, navigating his way through, but then wrapped up by Nicholas Ashley, who is the defending player of the week on defense and the best rookie of the week from last week. First contributions in the Becker game. And let's watch this play again.
Falcons using that pistol formation pretty much exclusively. This time it's a run to the right. Good initial blocking, but then Ashley does a good job peeling away from his blocker. He's able to wrap Jaquay Solomon up before he gets too much.
He stops engaging with Stefan Armand and then is able to wrap up Solomon, limits his gain to just 3 yards. On 2nd down, he's going to get most, if not all, of what he needs to get the first. It will be a first down.
Keep the ball on the ground. That's the name of the game for the Falcons right now. Jaquay Solomon does not have the build of your typical workhorse running back, just 5'4", 165, but he has been the man in the backfield for Fitchburg State today, and he's still out there again.
Getting the chance to prosper after the injury to Sterling Garvin. Jaquay Solomon's really been making it work today. Another handoff. Wrapped up, but not before gaining another good few yards.
Even a play like that doesn't look like much, the offensive line is getting such a push that Solomon is only brought down after a gain of 4. And, I hate to be simplistic and reductive about it, but if you're gaining 4 yards with every handoff, you're never going to fail.
Exactly. It's like you're going to get that first down eventually. So another 4 yards gained by the green and gold. Solomon rushing his way, closing in at 150 yards on the contest. 2nd down, 6 to go. Solomon remains in the backfield. Falcons still with 3 receivers and a tight end. Solomon again, cutting to his left. He's inside the 30-yard line. It's a gain of 3 more yards. They'll bring up another 3rd down, but just 3 to go.
And that's what classifies as a tricky play on this drive for the Falcons. Instead of a run up the middle, this is a run, gasp, shock, horror, off tackle left. And it still worked.
Wrapped up there by A.J. Baird. Ball on the 29-yard line. Clock ticks to 6:45 to go in the 3rd quarter.
And you've got to think this is 4-down territory for Fitchburg State, should they come up short here.
Another carry for Solomon, and it looks like he is going to come up short there. It's a negligible gain. It's not much of anything. And now the question, I think, is do you want to do another run, or do you want to try to pass it on 4th down? Do you think you're telegraphing it just a bit too much?
It's 4th and a long 3. I would come out, shotgun, 3 receivers, single running back, and I'd throw a quick slant, to be honest with you. Want to give a quick injury update for the Falcons. Darius Morkeski, 73, the left tackle for Fitchburg State, is back in the game. Suffered a left leg injury in the 1st quarter. You see him lined up there, so he's back. That's good.
Solomon's going to get around. I believe he's got the 1st down. He made it to the 25-yard line.
He does indeed have the 1st down, and he gets it running to the left behind the man I just mentioned, Darius Morkeski. We'll take a look at this one here. Solomon runs up the middle, cuts to the left, gets a good block as well, not just from Morkeski, but from William Jameson, the junior from Quincy. It'll be 1st and 10 Falcons at the Worcester State 24.
Falcons continuing to make progress on this drive. And now Solomon getting a break. Tamaketi back in. He'll take it on 1st down. And he's able to get out of a couple of tackles. And here comes another maul. So they still keep pushing. Now they feel enough pushing there, but now words being exchanged between Jesse Brown and Lenny Then. They're across with each other.
It's a 5-yard gain for Tamaketi, and one thing I am noticing, Dan, Worcester State has gone away from their traditional defensive formation of the 3-3-5. They do have, or at least on that play, did have a 4th down lineman on the defensive line. So they've got the 2 ends as well as the 2 tackles trying to stymie this running game of Fitchburg State.
The Falcons have been very successful on the ground today. Only 3 completed passes as well. Tamaketi on 2nd down, immediately wrapped up by Bruce Johnson, the Fitchburg native. I think this is the first time Johnson's also played at Elliott Field for being from Fitchburg.
Not much there for Tamaketi. 3rd and 4. From right where they are, it would be a 36-yard field goal. And, well, being down 11 points, a field goal isn't the worst thing, but I would be inclined to think the Falcons would go for it.
I would also go for it if it goes to 4th down. It goes to 3rd and 4 here. It's another run. Tamaketi's got a hole. Tamaketi's got a 1st down.
Well, to heck with the 4th down strategy. Let's just run it up the middle and get 10 yards and a 1st down. How about that?
To the 10-yard line. And it's going to be 1st and... it looks like the way the chains are going to set up, it looks like it's going to be 1st and goal. And whistles now. Looks like a timeout indicated. 3:28 to go in the third quarter, 14-3 in favor of Worcester, but the Falcons now threatening. There's actually an injury, is what it is.
Looks like one of the defenders for Worcester State was a little slow to get up. You see him there. That's Lenny Then. We've called his name a few times today. Then's having a pretty good day. Good to see he's getting off under his own power.
A sophomore from Lawrence. And while I have a moment, I want to mention that our thoughts and hearts are with the people affected by the Valley tragedy.
Absolutely.
It happened at Lawrence, Andover, North Andover. We are thinking of you. It'll be first and goal from the 10-yard line. Let's see what the Falcons can do. Solomon back in the game for Fitchburg. He'll get the carry, burst through the line, to the end zone. Touchdown, Falcons!
How's that for a touchdown drive, Dan? You just hand the ball off, and then you 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 hand the ball off for a touchdown.
And just when you think they're going to pass it, oh wait, they never even ran play action. Never once did Fitchburg even pretend that they were going to pass on this drive, and they never needed to. Solomon just bursting through the end zone.
He was untouched.
And here's the kick for the extra point. It is good. 3:03 to go. Third quarter. Fitchburg State 10, Worcester State 14.
The only time Jaquay Solomon made contact with anyone on that touchdown run was a little bit of a push. Like, oh, excuse me, pardon me, I'm just going to sneak through here. Oh, look, 6 points. How about that?
How about that indeed? 13 plays, 67 yards, 7 minutes and 57 seconds. They didn't get a home run, if you will. They didn't need it.
13 plays, 13 handoffs.
That's all it was. That's all it ever needed to be. They didn't need any more than that. In fact, the Falcons now have actually had the ball for 12 seconds short of 30 minutes in this contest. It's the second straight week that they've approached the 30-minute mark in time of possession, near three-quarter time.
And that drive, as you said, Dan, took up more than half of the third quarter. 7 minutes, 53 seconds just on that drive alone. It's an incredible job, not only by the running backs, but by the offensive line as well. Fitchburg State just dominating the line of scrimmage, imposing their will on the Lancer defense. And now if their defense can get a stop, I see no reason not to think they're going to do it again.
The Falcons showing everyone they've got a running game. Santos with the kickoff, takes a hop, pulled in by Andrews. He goes to the left side, he's taken down short of the 30-yard line.
And now for Worcester State, it becomes imperative for their offense, even if you don't put points on the board, and obviously you do want to put points on the board, but just get positive yardage. Get something out of this drive, because your defense is sitting there on the sideline and they are getting water and they are sucking wind and they are exhausted. The offense needs, if nothing else, to hold on to the ball for a couple of minutes.
And Worcester's been stymied for the most part by the Falcon defense today. First down, it's a handoff. It's going to go to the left side, and not much gotten there, as it is once again Aaron Moses Williams back into the contest for Worcester State.
So Williams comes back in at quarterback, and Bookie McBean was the ball carrier there. And for all the greatness of his name, Bookie McBean really has not had that good a day moving the ball for Worcester State.
In the first half, he had 2 carries. They were of 0 and 0. And he got minus that time. But he's going to get some positive yardage here on second down. He's down at the 35-yard line.
That time a bit of a delayed handoff. Throw off the timing of the Falcon defensive lineman, and it worked very well. It's a good 5-6 yard gain. Sets up third down and 4 now for Worcester State.
So again, it is Aaron Moses Williams in the backfield as the quarterback, with McBean as his running back. 3 receivers for the Lancers. Williams wants to throw. That's tipped up in the air. That is dangerous, but no Falcons there.
There is, however, a flag back down in the area of the quarterback, and Caleb Gonsalves is beside himself. Roughing the passer is the call, so even though the pass fell incomplete, the penalty will give the Lancers a first down. Let's see if we can see it here. It's just out of our frame, but after Williams released that ball, you did see Gonsalves bearing down on top of him.
Based on what I could see, it very much was a penalty, just didn't time it right. He was going for the layout hit, but it comes in too late. And it's a free 15 for Worcester, just when it looked like the Falcons had held the Lancers to a 3 and out. They've given them a first down.
A gift for the Lancers sets them up 1st and 10 at midfield.
Now Williams scrambling, move to his right. He's going to get back to the line of scrimmage. That's all he's going to get.
Good downfield coverage that time by Fitchburg State. Looked like the Lancers were maybe going for the home run ball, try to get it downfield in a hurry. They weren't able to do that. The defensive line was able to bring him down.
Longest pass today from the Lancers, just 27 yards. That was Brum to Charette. 2nd and 10. They're going to go with the handoff this time on the delay. That's not much better. And McBean back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd time today, he's at a rush for naught.
And it's Gonsalves again making amends in a bit for the penalty earlier. This time he brings down McBean in the backfield, sets up 3rd down and 9.
The game measured in feet, not yards. And now on 3rd down, a 4-receiver set, 3 to the left for Worcester. Williams sends McBean in motion as a dump-off option. They go to the near side, they find Charette. They're gonna wrap him up well short of the first down marker.
Well-designed play for the Lancers. Get McBean in motion to the left, make it look like the pass is going that way, then swing it back to the right. But a good job by Jared Citizen on defense. See, he looks left and then quick throw to the right, try to set up the screen there. But Citizen does a great job shedding his blocker and bringing down Charette before he can get the first down.
And time is going to expire in the 3rd quarter. The Falcons get a touchdown on a long drive. 13 plays, 13 rushes, capped off with a 10-yard run by Jaquay Solomon. And at 3-quarter time, the Falcons trail by just 4, 14-10.
We promised an exciting second half of action, and I must say, Dan, the 3rd quarter delivered. Obviously, the big turnover by the Falcons gave Worcester State the ball, and that basically handed them their 2nd touchdown of the game. But Fitchburg State marched downfield, and I do mean marched down the field. A 13-play drive took up more than half the quarter. And we're going to go to the 4th quarter of action with Worcester State leading this one 14-10. While we have a second here, I do want to thank the underwriters who make this and every FATV remote telecast possible. We want to thank Vector 5, Hub International, The Sentinel and Enterprise, Fitchburg State University, KCMC Management, Rollstone Bank and Trust, Workers Credit Union, Unitil, Enterprise Bank, Minuteman Press, and Health Alliance. And if you are interested, if you or your business would like to become an underwriter of Fitchburg Access Television, just go to fatv.org and you'll find all the information there.
And so we've had an exciting 2nd and 3rd quarter. It's been a pleasure for me to call the game, but now for the 4th quarter, it's all you, John Gugerty.
Thank you very much, Dan Bolak. And I'm just going to start this 4th quarter by saying I think Worcester State should go for it, to be honest. I know their punting is incredible. They should still go for it. But still, 4th and 3 at the 43-yard line of the Falcons. They will kick it away. They will probably kick it away. There it goes. Nice end-over-end kick, bounces at the 10, and this time it's an excellent special teams play. That ball was going to go into the end zone, but it is swatted back and downed at the 1. It's the 3rd or 4th time today Worcester State has downed a punt deep inside Falcon territory. Just an incredible job by the Lancer special team unit.
This might be the greatest punting performance we've ever seen.
Hey, really might be.
This is the second time today the Falcons are going to have to start a drive on their own one. This is the fourth time today the Falcons are going to have to start a drive inside their own 10-yard line. And the one other time it was punted, Worcester got it on a muff. That's about as perfect as you can get.
It's an amazing day. It's like, do we know anybody who works for the Patriots? Like, I'm only a third kidding. Falcon offense will come out 1st and 10 at the 1-yard line, trailing by 4 points.
The Falcons in a position where they can't fail to gain yardage. If they do, well, we all know how bad it'll be.
Falcons go from the pistol. Again, the hard count. Try to draw Worcester State into giving them 5. Lancers do not oblige. Handoff up the middle. Jaquay Solomon gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about all the good you can say.
Better than the alternative.
He didn't lose yards, so that's nice, but he absolutely didn't gain any either. Sets up 2nd down and 10. Now for the Falcons, obviously, you know, you're trailing in the game. You want to put points on the board, but you have to get at least some yardage just to clear the end zone for your punting team. 2nd down now and 10, Fitchburg State. Handoff goes to the left side. This time Solomon's got a little bit of blocking, but it falls apart quickly. He's brought down after a gain of about 3 yards by A.J. Byard. It will be 3rd down and 7 now. Ball spotted at about the 4.
You wonder how much more aggressive that Worcester State is going with the run defense, especially with the Falcons where they are on the field.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, Dan. Fitchburg State has shown in this game an almost complete inability to throw the ball downfield.
With one exception.
With one exception, but literally one exception. And they just had a drive where they totally ran the ball all the time. I think Worcester thinks they're going to run it. And that's why you go play action. Brown in trouble, throws to his right, passes underthrown and incomplete. Well-designed play, execution just wasn't there, however. I think the closest man to it was Byard. And the Falcon offense goes 3 and out, and they will face a very difficult punt.
Definitely going to be a challenge. Quinn was the intended receiver, but that ball was well in front of him, and I don't think he had much of a chance at it. It was just going to be too much of a challenge to ask there, as Brown also didn't really get the time to set up. He had to throw it, and there really wasn't anywhere to go.
Bryce Santos will set up as close to the end line as he can. Gets this kick away. It's going to be brought in at about the Falcon 40 by Caesar, and he's tackled immediately. So good coverage there, at least on the special team. It's Genry Rosario making the hit on the punt, but still Worcester State now finds themselves leading this game by 4 with about 13 minutes to play, and they've got the ball 1st and 10 at the Falcon 40. Dan, if you're Worcester State right now, you really want to take as much time off the clock as you can, because you know if you put this ball in the end zone, Fitchburg State can't score quickly right now.
They're in that position. Brum is back on the field, too, for Worcester. It's been interesting how they've been rotating him out with Williams.
Play action fake on 1st down. Throw over the middle is tipped and incomplete. I believe the man who got a hand on it was Javon Turner for Fitchburg State.
Javon Turner able to break that up for the Falcons. 2nd and 10.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10 now for the Lancers.
So ball on the 34-yard line. Another short field for Worcester.
This time, carry goes to the left side. Dex Andrews, the ball carrier. And Andrews is brought down after just a gain of a couple.
Need a bit of help after the play from Caleb Gonzalez, who was happy enough to lend him a hand. Richard Austin Jr. making the tackle on that one. Worcester in a position where really it's in their best interest to run the ball. One way of putting their offense today, they haven't scored on a drive where they had to start as far back as the Falcon 34-yard line, which sounds weird, doesn't it?
3rd down and 9, pass to the right side is caught. You'll never guess who unless you guess the only man who's contributing on offense, Cam Charette, with the first down reception for Worcester State. It's not enough that he is a lethal weapon with the punting game. He's also the best receiver Worcester State has got. Cam Charette making a case for MASCAC Player of the Week.
His fourth catch whistles. So his fourth catch of the day, and he's made nothing but timely catches, it seems, when he's not pinning the Falcons ridiculously deep in their own territory.
But we get a false start there. It'll back the Lancers up 5 yards. So they now face 1st and 15 at the Fitchburg 28 as they look to put this one away.
1st and 15.
Brum's got Dex Andrews. Now Andrews goes in motion. Brum back to pass, looks to his right, throws over the middle. Pass is low, but it is caught. Cam Charette with an incredible catch. It's a gain of about 8 yards on a ball that very well could have fallen incomplete. Take a look at this one again. Make sure that ball didn't hit the ground.
And also look at the umpire having to duck. And Charette maybe partially screened by the umpire, but he still is able to follow the trajectory of the ball. And the umpire really was the only one really in blocking distance either.
Now 2nd down and 7. Andrews, the ball carrier, tries to run to the right side. He's wrapped up from behind by Kyrique Watford. It's a gain of a couple. Fitchburg State defense has forced another 3rd down. And I think for the Lancers, this is pretty obviously 4-down territory. And a field goal would put them up by a full touchdown, but the benefits of going for it, I think, are much greater. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We still have 3rd down to deal with. Quick screen pass to the right side is complete. Charette had nobody in front of him, and he picks up the 1st down just like that.
That is probably the first screen pass we've seen all day.
Certainly the first successful one. I think we've seen Worcester State run a couple quick little dump-offs to the right side like that didn't go anywhere. But this time they had Charette and a blocker, and there was only one Falcon. And you do the math, that comes out in favor of Worcester State. And now, unfortunately, we have an injured Falcon down on the far side of the field. See him there, looks like it's Jared Citizen.
35 indeed. .10:23 to go in the 4th quarter, 14-10 Worcester. Citizen back on his feet. He'll wave off the assistance from Samuel Kenny and try to walk it off.
And it is a warm day here at Elliott Field, especially when the sun is out, as it has been for just about the entire contest. So the Falcon defense dealt a blow with the loss of Jared Citizen. But Dan, as we turn our attention back to the game here, Worcester State is marching on the door of a touchdown that, I mean, there's 10 minutes left. It wouldn't totally put it away, but this would be a big touchdown if Worcester State can get it. Play action fake on 1st down. Brum's looking for the end zone. He throws. It's a jump ball. Somebody's got it, but that somebody is wearing white. Touchdown, Worcester State.
And even with his helmet ripped off and all of that, it's Jacob Marr who pulls it in.
Marr, the junior from Marshfield, will take a look at this one again. Just play action fake and then throw it up there. And Marr was able to just out-muscle his man. He was one-on-one with Melcher Lynch. Lynch got his helmet, but Marr got the football. And now it's 20-10 Worcester, and they once again will line up to maybe go for 2, maybe transition into a traditional extra point. We'll see. Or perhaps they'll just call timeout. Or perhaps the Falcon. Somebody call timeout. Timeout, Worcester State. So now down 20-10. I mean, perhaps it's academic, but you'd rather see a touchdown and a field goal than a 12-point deficit. We get a quick look at our crew up there on the lift. That's Matt Carroll on the right, on the left, Nicole Gaffney on the right. Hi, Nicole. Yes, wave. You're on TV, Nicole. It's okay. And there you see Asante Easter giving instructions to his defense.
The defense hasn't played too badly today, but the challenge has just been they've been given short fields. 7, 11, and 34 yards are the distances that the Lancers had to travel for their touchdowns on their drives.
And you can't win like that.
Those are very short drives.
And it doesn't help when your offense has been sputtering and turning the ball over and marching the ball downfield only to lose it. Now the 2-point attempt for Worcester State. They'll do the option pitch to the right and lunging into the end zone, and that is a successful 2-point conversion. Nicholas Ashley winds up taking that ball across the line.
The thing is, when I think of the swinging gate, I think of the time that the Colts tried to run the swinging gate against the Patriots a couple of years ago. And that's really my only memory of it, but today we've seen Worcester now
That's how
twice.
it's supposed to work. Like, Worcester State is running it the way it's supposed to work. The way the Colts ran it was bad. You remember the time it was the Washington football team? They were playing the Giants, and they were down like 10 points going into halftime, and they did a swinging gate for some god-awful reason, and it was the worst play they've ever run, and they got booed off the field.
Yes, I believe their punter tried to throw a pass that went nowhere fast.
Yes. So, you know, those NFL coaches, watch some Worcester State film. This is how it's supposed to look.
That is how you execute the swinging gates. So it's like, in our heads, really, the only thing we associate the swinging gates with is failure. But for Worcester State, they are making it work for them, and they have a 12-point lead with 10:05 to go. It's going to be Sam Liss to kick off again.
This time a low line drive kick. Bounces at the 20 and picked up there. Across the 30 to the 35, still on his feet. This is Juandre House for the Falcons, and he's brought down across the 40 at the 41-yard line. There is, however, a penalty marker down.
Comes near the very end of the play. It's against Fitchburg. He'll probably only send it back to around the 25 or so.
And it is indeed a hold indicated against the Falcons. Stanley Jeanty, the man responsible. They'll back that ball up to the 37-yard line. Still decent field position for the Falcon offense. But with 9:54 to play, Fitchburg State needs 2 touchdowns. And they need them rather quickly.
As much as the passing game has not been working for them, I think they're going to have to go to it more often.
Chris Tamaketti set up next to Brandon Brown on first down, and he'll get the handoff looking to his right. He's got plenty of room in front of him. He's into Lancer territory across the 45-30. Finally brought down Chris Tamaketti with a big gain. And what was that we were saying about needing to go to the air?
Well, you don't have to go to the air if you can get runs like that.
Chris Tamaketti with his best run of the game. Unfortunately heads immediately to the sidelines. Looks like he might have been shaken up at the end of that one. Falcons, meanwhile, hurry back to the line of scrimmage. And this is Jaquay Solomon back in the game as the ball carrier. And he's brought down close to the 20-yard line after a gain of 3 or 4 yards. So now 2nd down and 5 for Fitchburg State.
Closing in on the red zone again.
This is where the Falcon offense has kind of fallen apart, not just today, but in the previous 2 games as well. Handoff goes to Solomon, cuts it to the left. He's got a first down, and he is dragged down at about the 15-yard line. Stop the clock, move the chains. 8:45 to play in this one. Fitchburg State has another first down. I tell you, Dan, Worcester State's defense just has no answers for the Falcon running game. And now the gains are coming in big chunks, not just 4 or 5 yards, but 7, 8, 12, 30, as we saw from Chris Tamiketti.
They've been taking advantage of Worcester State's weakness in the ground game, which had been pretty good in the first 2 weeks too, but they have struggled today.
Now 1st and 10 Falcons at the 15-yard line. Jaquay Solomon remains in the backfield. Play action fake, Brown looking to his right, under pressure, rolls right, still rolling, throws for the end zone, incomplete. Looked like he was trying to hit his tight end, Drew Riddenauer.
I think Kevin Quinn was in the vicinity as well.
2nd and 10.
That's also another thing we haven't seen too much today is seeing Brandon Brown just tuck it and run with it. We haven't seen him try to do that too many times. He's actually only got 1 carry on the day, and that was a tackle for a loss.
Right here, there really isn't much room to run. He does try to get it into Quinn. Was well defended there by the Lancers. That's Lenny Then on the coverage. Good to see Then back out on the field. Now 2nd down and 10 for Fitchburg State. This time Solomon gets it on the delay. Not much there. Maybe a yard or 2 before he's driven back. And they'll give him forward progress to about the 12, where it will be 3rd down and 7. So the Falcons can get a first down without getting a touchdown. They need to get just inside the 5 in order to accomplish that.
3rd and 8.
Fitchburg State, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. They've done that pretty much all day. Jaquay Solomon will get the carry. He runs to his right. He's got a great block. He's got a touchdown. Just like that, the Falcons are within a score.
Jaquay Solomon has run for nearly 200 yards today. And again, excellent foresight. He's got a high awareness stat. To look and see where he needs to go, he runs around the whole scrum there. He finds daylight at the pylon, and he runs right for it, for the touchdown.
And right at the end of the replay there, you saw a Lancer just come flying in, having been thrown to the ground. It was an excellent block that sprung Solomon, not just for the first down, but for the touchdown as well. The cheerleaders here at Elliott Field are going crazy. The Falcons are within a score, and we still have half of a quarter to play. Now Fitchburg State will attempt the extra point, try to make this a 22-17 game. Low snap, kick is blocked, picked up. Actually, the Falcons will just fall on it for a second. It looked like Worcester State would pick it up on the bounce.
It was Tamiketti who jumped on top of it, so it's good to see he's all right. But a blocked extra point. Santos had one blocked last week in a game that saw 4 extra point attempts blocked.
That was Malcolm Douglas who made the block for the Lancers. Dan, that's the 2nd time today we've seen a bit of a struggle on the long snapping game. It's Kyrie Watford, the long snapper for the Falcons.
And Kyrie Watford, he's better known as a defensive end.
And I believe this is his first season doing the long snapping for Fitchburg State.
You normally expect someone who plays the offensive line to be in the position of long snapping. But to see Kyrie Watford, who's a defensive player, although he does play the defensive line doing that, it's weird to see a single-digit player snapping the ball, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. College football is weird sometimes.
Sometimes you get a wide receiver who moonlights as a punter, or maybe the opposite based on how he's played today. We keep mentioning him because he keeps deserving to be mentioned.
He is the entire Worcester State offense.
That's Cam Charette for those tuning in late. What a game he's had.
Bryce Santos' kick is a sideways spinning thing. It's a flag down, I believe. And And the return is brought back to about the 30-yard line. I can't tell if that was a penalty marker or a B I saw flying. I'm only deathly allergic to Bs, but there is also a penalty marker.
They seem to be discussing things with the Worcester sideline.
And it's around the spot of the kickoff, so.
Offside on the kicking team. 5 yards on the attitude end of the run. First down.
So one of the Falcons was a little too excited, got ahead of the ball before it was kicked, and you can't do that. So we'll give the Lancers an extra 5 yards, set them up now 1st and 10 at their own 35-yard line as they look to put this game away.
And what the Lancers need to do is find a way to kill some clock, hold on to it. They'll have to march a distance much farther than they've had to travel all day. 65 yards. I knew I was having trouble with the math there for some reason.
First down handoff goes to Bookie McBean. McBean's across the line of scrimmage, not much more than that. Brought down after a gain of just a yard.
Just to put in perspective how far they have to travel on their 3 touchdown drives, the Lancers have driven a combined distance of 62 yards. And they have to go 65 to score 6 more.
So unlikely based on previous events, but not impossible.
But it's important that the Falcons hold them back as best they can, because Charette has pinned them so deep every single time.
Now 2nd down and 9 for Worcester State. McBean still in the backfield, and McBean is the ball carrier, looking to turn the corner, failing to turn the corner. He is pushed out of bounds and then knocked to the ground. I think Fitchburg State was a little bit fortunate that there wasn't a flag flying after that. Samuel Kenny delivered a shoulder block well after McBean was out of bounds. Let's take a look at it again here. So McBean is out of bounds there, and there's the hit.
I think part of it, too, is that he's still running forward as if he's in the field of play.
That is true.
I don't think he realized he was out of bounds. And so I don't have a problem with that. And the officials didn't call a penalty, so they don't have a problem with that either.
So now for the Falcon defense, this is a big 3rd down and 9. If they can get a stop here, get the ball back, they've got momentum and they've got time. This would be a big stop for them, but conversely for Worcester State, if they can convert on this 3rd down, it'll be a big swing of momentum in their direction. Brum the quarterback, McBean the running back, play action fake, Brum is under pressure, Brum is sacked. He was absolutely wiped out by Melcher Lynch. It's a big loss. A flag comes in way late. Well downfield, away from the play. Let's take a look at the sack again. Brum's looking downfield. Lynch comes on the delayed safety blitz. And then the flag was thrown.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against Worcester. Huge break for the Falcons. Not only do they get the sack, they march the Lancers back via penalty. Now the Falcons may actually get fairly good field position after this.
That was Frank Catanoso called for the unsportsmanlike conduct after the play. An additional half the distance to the goal. Worcester State kicking it away from their own 16-yard line. Kevin Quinn set back at about his own 45 to return this. Lancers obviously taking as much time as they can before getting this high spiraling kick away. Bounces at midfield and takes a bit of a Lancer roll, but it's really not going to go that far. So now for Fitchburg State, freshman quarterback Brandon Brown, your main running backs, Jaquay Solomon, Chris Tamaketti. You've got 4:55 left to play, 1st and 10 at your own 48-yard line, and a touchdown and an extra point gets you your first win. No pressure, though. No pressure. Everything's fine.
Maybe the drive of the season here. The Falcons have run on the ground for 254 yards today, 197 yards for Jaquay Solomon. The Falcons have not had a 200-yard rusher since Marlon Thornton did it back in 2008.
1st and 10, Falcons at the 48-yard line. Handoff goes to Jaquay Solomon for the 40th time today. No, excuse me, that's Chris Tamaketti, his 12th carry. Tamaketti's brought down at midfield after a gain of a couple.
Tamaketti's got 82 yards on the day. He's closing in on 100 himself. And I actually had written down for a trivia question, when was the last time the Falcons had 200-yard rushers in the same game? But now's not the time to be asking that.
It's not. 2nd down and 8, Falcons at midfield. This time, quick pitch to the left to Tamaketti, and this time there's nothing doing there. Worcester State has finally diagnosed the run game. Bruce Johnson, we've only called his name 15 times today, making the tackle in the backfield. It's a loss of 5. Now it's 3rd down and 12.
It looked like Tamaketti had some issue with catching the pitch on that one, just trying to pull that one in, but there was nowhere he could have gone. Worcester won the battle in the trenches on that one, and all the blocking going all the way over to the left. There's nothing they could have done there.
Now the Falcon offense having trouble. They needed to get an extra lineman out onto the field.
They have to snap it with 5 seconds left. That was Markeski running on there.
3rd and 12. Now they do just get the play off. It's a draw up the middle. There's plenty of yardage for Jaquay Solomon. He's across midfield to about the 44-yard line. It's a gain of 10, but not good enough for a 1st down. Jaquay Solomon now 40 carries over 200 yards, but it will be for naught if the Falcons cannot convert on this all-important 4th down play.
You can see after all the discombobulation, credit to them for even getting the play off.
Fitchburg State needs 3 yards to continue this drive and keep their hopes alive. Solomon is in the backfield. Solomon gets the carry straight up the middle. 2nd effort, spins out of a tackle. Jaquay Solomon has a 1st down. He was not gonna get it until he spun out, and then he just lunged forward and picked up the biggest 1st down of the game.
The running game keeps on rolling. We watch the 2nd effort here. Gets the handoff, tries to go up the middle. It was going to be very close from that spot. He probably wasn't going to get it. He makes the spin out, and then Ashley able to wrap him up from behind.
Now Tamaketti running to the right. He's brought down by the 1st man, but he lunges forward, gets 3 or 4 yards. Clock continues to roll. It's going to go down below 2 minutes to play before this next snap. Fitchburg State, I believe, does have 2 timeouts remaining.
I believe so. The timeout indicators are not working on the scoreboard today.
It'll be 2nd down and 7 for Fitchburg State. They're at the 37 of the Lancers. Handoff goes to Solomon. This time there's nothing there. Worcester State knows what's coming. It's just a matter of stopping it. This time they have stopped the Falcons fairly well on 1st and 2nd down. Sets up 3rd and 4. Now with 83, 82, 81 seconds left to play in this game. Brandon Brown getting signals from the sideline. 20 seconds on the play clock. Plenty of time there. Jaquay Solomon still in the backfield. And he gets the carry straight up the middle. Solomon's got a 1st down. He's across the 30 to the 27, maybe the 28-yard line. Stop the clock, move the chains. 1 minute, 1 second left to play in this one.
Down to the wire we go.
Lancers desperately trying to change personnel before the snap. Falcons right at the line of scrimmage. 50 seconds to play, down by 6. Brown will throw. Looking right, throwing right for the end zone. Jump ball incomplete. He was looking for Brandon Brown. Brown couldn't quite tell where the ball was going to come down. Neither he nor the defender actually went up for it, and the ball wound up floating over both their heads.
There's one positive. It does stop the clock for the Falcons. Leaves 44 seconds on it as Brandon Brown trying to find Jesse Brown. Of course, the passing game not quite there today. Now 3 for 13 is Brandon.
Was the first pass Brandon Brown has thrown of any real significance in a quarter and a half at least.
That's what it feels like. Only 3 passes attempted in this quarter, in this half, all incomplete.
44 seconds to play. 2nd and 10 Falcons at the 27-yard line. Handoff goes to Chris Tamaketti running up the middle. He's across the 25 and he'll be stopped there. Fitchburg State calls their second timeout with 38 seconds to play.
That seems like the time to do it, to call the timeout there, to try to give your team a breath.
Fitchburg State started this drive with plenty of time left on the clock. They have let most of it run out, down to just 38 seconds, and still needing 25 yards to get into the end zone.
More importantly, they're going to have to get 6 in the next 2. So I guess now I think I do want to ask that trivia question. We'll just make it quick. The last time the Falcons had 2 100-yard rushers in the same game?
It had to be Jeremy Kimber and somebody.
You're right, Jeremy Kimber, and it was Darren Wilson back in 2010, September 25th, the Falcons beating Maine Maritime 46-44 in what was their only win in the 2010 season.
Is that the one where I said they got wamboozled?
Perhaps.
Okay.
That was also a game where Maine Maritime that regular season went 9-1. That was their only loss to a 1-9 team.
That had to be the one where I said they got wamboozled. If the Falcons score a touchdown, I'll say that Worcester State got wamboozled. Deal?
Deal.
Okay. 3rd down and 6 for Fitchburg State. They need to get to the 18-yard line to continue this drive. Brown looking to his left. He will keep it himself. Runs to the right. He's got one man to beat. He does. Turns the corner. Ducks out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. There's the running game you were looking for, Dan Bolak. And with 31 seconds left to play, Fitchburg State has it 1st and 10 at the Worcester State 13.
And that was smart of Brown, too. As he was running towards the sideline, he knew he was not going to be able to score on that play. He wanted the short clock stoppage. He ducks out of bounds. But this is really one of the first times we've seen him tuck the ball and run.
And I think that was a run from the get-go. And really, Fitchburg State hasn't called that a lot today. They busted it out when they needed it. Brown stepped out at about the 13-yard line. So 1st and 10 Falcons there, 31 seconds to play, down by 6. Empty backfield now for Fitchburg State, and false start before the snap. It'll back the Falcons up. It'll be 1st and 15 now. Ball spotted at the Lancer 18-yard line.
Haven't been too many penalties in this contest. Both teams have played fairly clean.
Fitchburg State looking for their 1st win of the season, 1st win for a rookie quarterback, 1st win for a first-time head coach. Handoff goes to the right side. This is Jaquay Solomon. He's across the 10-yard line. And he will be brought down there, and Fitchburg State will take their final timeout. 25 seconds left to play in this one. And if the Falcons go on the ground, they either need to get a 1st down or hurry back to the line. They are unable to stop the clock again.
And that's the most important thing, as you just said, John. They have to be aware that if they don't get that 1st down, they have to get to the line and fast.
Jim McGuire in his 1st season as head coach, giving instructions to his team. Falcon faithful here at Elliott Field, rooting their team on. Everyone heading down to the right sideline, trying to get as good a view as they can of the climax of this game. 25 seconds left to play, 2nd down and 6. The ball is at the Worcester State 10-yard line. Fitchburg State needs to gain the 4 for a first down. Shotgun formation, 3 receivers, and more motion before the snap. For the second time, Fitchburg State gives away 5 yards. This time it was on the right side of the line.
Ratcheting up the degree of difficulty here. Letting the nerves get to them.
Second down and 11 now. It's a handoff to the right side, brought down after a gain of 3. And I may have been mistaken. Fitchburg State had a third timeout.
They had another timeout in their pockets. As we said, the timeout indicators on our scoreboard not working today, so we haven't had a solid count on that. But obviously
we do apologize for that.
And now it also means, though, if they run on third down and they don't get the first, they can't clock it. They have to rush up, they have to snap it, and they may not get another play, and they may only have one more play to give if that happens.
So it will be third down and 11 now for the Falcons. You can see it there on your screen. 20 seconds left to play. Worcester State leading by 6. Fitchburg State has not won a game in almost a year. September 30th at Mass Maritime was the last time any Falcon tasted victory in football. They're looking to change that today. A touchdown here would obviously go a long, long way. Empty backfield once again for Fitchburg State. Brown back to pass, pumps right, throws right for Brown in the end zone. Incomplete, no flag, it'll be fourth down. Was trying to find Jesse Brown. It was very, very well defended.
Eddie Boama, the junior defensive back from Worcester, a graduate of North High. His back was turned to it, but he didn't make enough contact to force the penalty flag, which would have put the ball on the 2.
Brown faked out our camera operator. He did not fake out Eddie Boama. And now fourth down and 8, 14 seconds left. Fitchburg State will go empty backfield again. They have 4 receivers and a tight end. Brown back to pass, throws right for Brown in the end zone, incomplete. Threw it behind him. There was nothing Jesse Brown could do about that one. And the Falcons try so hard and come so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter.
I don't want to quote the rest of that song. But it looked like Jesse Brown blew a tire on the turf as well. It looked like he stumbled, fell down as the pass was behind him. And in the end, they had to try to go to the passing game with the clock as their enemy, and ultimately they are unable to complete a pass in the second half. And as good as the running game was, it just wasn't enough to get them that chance. And so Worcester State, they're going to escape with the victory, and for the Falcons, once again, it's going to be the turnovers that put them in that position, that gifted the Lancers 2 touchdowns, essentially, and that gifted the Lancers their 3rd consecutive win against Fitchburg State.
For the second week in a row, it's a game the Falcons not necessarily should have won, but certainly could have won. Fitchburg State amasses 300 rushing yards. Jaquay Solomon, it's ridiculous to look at. 45 carries for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns. And they can't get it done. Fitchburg State comes up just short. And I think Kyrie Watford right there embodies the frustration of a lot of Falcon fans. They came so close.
That close to coming away with it, to tie it up, to even have a chance of, kick the extra point to potentially win the game, to play overtime, to do all of that. They got so close, but in the end, it's another failure in the red zone for the Falcons. Now they're 5th in 3 games. And the Falcons so close, they can't come away with it. and they fall to 0-3. They lose their first conference game of 2018 by a score of 22-16.
Folks, we want to thank you all for watching us here on FATV, FATV.org as well. We want to thank the volunteer crew of Fitchburg Access TV. John Dexter is our director, Travis Falk doing replay for us, Dave Oster coordinating everything, Nicole Gaffney, Charlie Ollis, Jared Roberts, Matt Carroll, Ed Freitas, Matt Murdoka, Evan Burns, Katie Nobauer, all of our excellent camera operators, as well Amanda Agassi down on the sidelines for us today. Oh boy, that was a heartbreaker of a loss for Fitchburg State.
Would have been one of the best games, well, it still was one of the best games we've called in a long time, and it would have been right up there as one of the most memorable Falcon victories if they could have come away with it. They had to overcome so much basically in terms of the turnovers and diversity and the like, but it was just too much to overcome. Too many obstacles, too many jeopardies they put themselves in, and the Falcons will have to make the short trip to Bridgewater in 6 days' time.
And in 6 days' time, folks, we will also be live here on FATV, but we'll be Fitchburg High School football for the first time, taking on Neshoba Regional. That is a 7 o'clock kickoff this Friday the 24th. We are back here at Elliott Field in 2 weeks for homecoming, September the 29th against Mass Maritime. But for right now, for Dan Bolak, I'm John Gugerty saying thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time right here on FATV.